Hello, what's up mga kapsat? Good afternoon, Maestro Paul is back. Kamusta na po? Kamusta na mga kapsat? Hindi tayo nakapag-live kagabi, pero at least nag-live naman tayo ng umaga kahapon. Pero yun nga lang, wala tayong live ng gabi. So, actually, ito yung magiging live sa natin kahapon regarding dun sa Blue Ribbon Committee hearing regarding sa sugar importation po. So, yung last na pinakinggan natin dun lang po sa may lower house, 'di ba? So ngayon nasa upper house na po, nasa Senado na. So mas tumaas ang pag-iimbestigasyon nila. So, pero bago 'yan maabsat 'no, mag-soundtrack muna tayo dito sa kay Don Kengkoy ulit. Teka lang maabsat, wait lang, ihanda natin 'to. Don Kengkoy. Shoutout po kay Don Kengkoy mga kabsat. So flex uli muna natin bago tayo mag-start, habang hinihintay natin yung iba mga kakabsat. So, asan na 'yan? Asan ka na? Sama-sama na lang tayo 'yan. Total, may harang. Don Kengkoy. Ayan, Ay, dalawa pang harang.
Yep, perfect.
Sana all. Shoutout sa lahat. Ma'am Sheila Macera is in the house. Ayan. Nako po, lalong lumalalim ang investigasyon, guys, ha? From the Congress, naging Senate ng hearing, mga kapsat. Ganun kalala. Hindi talaga nila paliligtasin to. Nako po, may magigisa mamaya. Shoutout Ma'am Medelita Kayobashi, shoutout. Kamusta po? Ma'am Sheila, naririnig po ba tayo? Naririnig ba yung sound? Muli ang ating lahi, sama-sama tayong mabangong muli. Eto na, yun! Ma'am Lynn Garcia, may kalab shoutout. Good afternoon. Breaking news. Nakapost yung merging ng ABS-CBN at TV5. Nag-announce na ang ABS-CBN. Oh! Patay tayo dyan, Ma'am Sheila. Kaya nga, may nakita ko nag-post yan. Actually, kanina si Mima. Si Mima Lee siya. Nag-post siya kanina. Nakita ko sa wall post niya. Ayan, loud and clear. Giovanni Domingo is in the house. Shout out, Kapsat, Giovanni. Dala-dala'y pag-asa, sama-sama tayong babangong muli. Pagbigkisin muli ang ating lahi, sama-sama tayong babangong muli. Medyo mahaba itong live natin, guys, kasi nasa 5 hours yung session. Pero shortcut natin, guys, no? Tanggalin natin yung mga segues. Doon tayo sa mga mismong direct questions. Ikaw ay mayroong malasakit sa bayan natin. Sa mga bagong pasok, huwag kalimutan mag-like and subscribe. Ikaw ng puso at damdamin, ramdam namin iyong diringgin. Ito ang tamang panahon upang tayo ay umahon. Ay, wow! Anong ganin? Game 2? Nako. Finals yan, di ba? Finals. San Miguel Beer. Shoutout, Lander Bean Season. Sama-sama tayong mabangon muli. Ito na ang sandali. Jomar Agrava, shoutout. Ayan eh. Ako, dire-diretso yung mga events natin ngayon ah. SMB ako. Ayan eh. Di ba yan yung Hinebra? Tama ba guys? SMB? San Miguel Beer? Hinebra San Miguel Beer. Tama di ba? Alright. Salamat, Don Kenkoy. Ayun eh. So, ayun mga kapsat. So, Hinebra, San Miguel Beer at San Juan. San Miguel Beerman. Magkaiba po. Ay, magkaiba ba? Pasensya na. Hindi ako masyado nanonood ng PBA eh. Pinapanood ko talaga NBA po. Yung laban ng mga champions like Golden State Warriors, Lakers, mga ganyan po yung mga inaantabayan ni Maestro. Pasensya na. Pagdating sa PBA, hindi natin sinusubaybayan. Pero alam ko naman yung mga ibang dyan, mga team. Way back yung elementary days, yan ang mga pinapanood ko rin. Pero so far, hanggang as of now, since nung nag-work na ako eh, hindi ko na nasusubaybayan. Anyway, mga kapsat, so for today, again, good afternoon. Ma'am Carmelita Yamada is in the house. Again, good afternoon, Sir Vance, Landers, Vince, Ma'am Sheila, Ma'am Carmelita. Lahat po naman to, Sir Jomar, Giovanni, Lynn Garcia, at sa lahat po mga nandito, Medelita Kayobashi, shoutout po sa inyo lahat. So, medyo mahaba-haba itong papanoorin natin guys, no? Pero habang pinapanood natin, magre-react tayo dito at tingnan natin kung anong masasabi niyo mga kapsat. Ito yung hearing kahapon guys, no? So, ito sana yung live natin kagabi, kaso hindi tayo nakapag-live kasi nga, ano ba nangyari kahapon? May emergency meeting tapos biglang nawala ng kuryente. Hindi tayo nakapag-live ng on time. So anyway, so ihabol na lang natin ito at least one day delayed lang naman or less than 24 hours delayed lang. So let's do this. So let me share the screen. Huwag na natin patagalin kasi medyo mahaba talaga to guys. Promise, sobrang haba nito. Kinuha natin yung source natin syempre sa Senate of the Philippines. Ayun. Alright. Blue Ribbon Hearing, August 23, 2022. Yan eh. So, play natin to. Oh. May sounds ba? Wala pa. Forward. Wala. Fast forward. Wala. Oops, wala. Yan o. Fiasco behind sugar order. Nagzo-zoom meeting yung iba, tapos yung iba naman, nandun. Halos lahat ng mga
The then SRA Administrator Serafica and Board Member Beltran and ask them and likewise ask them the same
Oh,
thing.
nandito pala si Con, no?
I ask then SRA Administrator Serafica to put both of them on speakerphone.
Wait lang.
And ask them, and,
Parang nag-e-echo
yun
ah.
din po ang nakuha
Ask them
kong
the same
sagot
thing.
mula kay
Where I asked
then Administrator Serafica. Ang sagot po niya sa akin, ang naging tugon niya, akala ko po kasi okay na, sabi ni Yusek Leo. Ganon din ho yung sagot ni board member.
Parang nag-e-echo guys.
At ganon din ang
Sandali ah.
ni senior
Tanggalin ko yung
Yusek.
sounds. Naku po.
Ganon din ho yung on August
Wait, fast forward.
in Malacanang.
Yan.
And I took the opportunity to ask him if he's free after the oath taking so I can discuss with him.
Parang nag-e-echo si Con dito.
The sugar
Si
industry.
Executive
And he
Secretary.
readily and graciously heeded my request. And it is also
Tama ba? Nag-e-echo ba? Teka lang, fast forward.
tulungan natin hindi ang Pangulo kundi yung ating mga overburden.
Nag-e-echo pa din guys.
August 22, Monday, His Excellency, President Ferdinand Marcos, administered the oath to the new
Wait lang. Saglit lang, nag-e-echo eh.
Mga hoarders na ito at price
Oh, ito hindi na.
manipulators Maraming salamat sir sa inyong mga ginagawa. Thank you po.
Mr. Chairman.
Nako, di natin narinig yung speech ni Con, ha?
Minority Leader is recognized.
Ni
Salamat
Executive
po, Mr.
Secretary.
Chairman.
Wait lang.
Bago lang pong umalis si ES, nais ko rin pong magpasalamat kay ES
Anyway,
Rodriguez. Sir,
ang concern
sa
naman
inyong,
dito, guys, yung
pag-aamin sa Blue Ribbon Committee na natanggap
Yung,
nyo na
how do
nga
you
po
call
ng
this?
mas maaga yung draft po ng Sugar Order number 4. Palagay ko, Mr. Chair, importante
Ang-
i-note ito
Ang
as
nasa
we
hot
move
seat dito,
forward
guys, si Con,
para
si
klaruhin nga yung
Sebastian.
nangyari sa sugar fiasco na ito. Fiasco po na para sa akin
Nag-e-echo siya,
importante,
guys,
yan
ha?
din po ang paglalarawan ni ES sa mga kaganapang ito. Salamat, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Ontiveros.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Kaya nga,
I hear
nag-echo, eh.
something. I hear a voice from Cagayan de Oro.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Are you virtually present, sir?
Teka lang.
data which I
It is only
Nakasan ko
when my
pa.
staff approach her that it was turned on. Of course, they will deny that. But nung binuksan na,
Eto na, eto na.
So, we apologize again for that. That's on the record. You will have the transcript before the end of the day. And as I have mentioned a while ago, if there is a need, as agreed upon by the majority, that a good executive secretary will be recalled, so be it.
All right.
And he complied. Any other members? Perhaps we can now dispense with the presence of the good executive secretary. Salamat po. Yung ibang titistigo, natakot, nagkasakit, may medical certificate, kayo nandito.
Ayun, no.
Mga
Mga nagkasakit daw. Hindi sumipot sa hearing.
Secretary Rodriguez.
Maraming salamat at magandang umaga po muli.
Nakaamoy na ng mga shutdown ang TV5 kaya kumambyo
May we
na
now
ang
ask
ideas
the
niya. Kaya nga, mahahawa sila, guys.
The one who made the privilege speech.
Nagkamali sila ng
to
kan.
make
Ayan
a
na.
statement thereafter Senator Villar, the co-chair, will be having her
Tama ka
opening
dyan, Sir
statement.
Giovanni
Thereafter,
Domingo.
all senators will have 5 minutes to do the first round. The good Senate President is hereby recognized.
maraming salamat po Chairman Tolentino for opening an investigation on this unauthorized sugar importation order which I brought up in my privilege speech last week. Since I gave that speech, the
Ayan,
involved SRA officials have stepped down from their positions
Ito na, si Con,
and given
si
way for proper investigations this matter.
Senate President.
I commend the quick action of the Office of the President on accepting the resignation.
Oh, anong nangyari? Ay, sorry.
But of course, the deed has already been done, and we must get to the bottom of this fiasco. Why, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, why was the President, the concurrent head of the Department of Agriculture, not informed?
Ayan eh.
And how
Solid
was this
na tanong
released
yan, ha?
without his
Shout out, Idol!
Why
Streetwise,
import 300,000
Takero Miyamoto.
metric tons of
Ayan
sugar
na,
at
ang
all
ating idol nandito,
when
guys.
the SRA data, which
Shout
I
out
have
sa iyo,
received,
Idol. Kumusta po,
indicate
Kapsat?
that there is still a reserve of 127,000
Maestro Pakisa.
metric tons of sugar
Ayan tayo
in
eh.
our warehouses, imported under Sugar Order number 3. And let me remind everyone, my dear colleagues, Mr. Chairman, that importation took place after 2 regional trial courts. And I know the good chairman is a stickler for rules and
Ayun, no?
legalities. When 2 regional trial courts in Negros Occidental issued a temporary restraining order
Oh, may
against
TRO
Sugar
na
Order
eh.
number 3. And yet, they continued to import.
Alam na this.
The Sugar Regulatory Administration has time and time again defaulted to importation as a primary solution to our sugar problems and to the detriment of our almost 100,000 small and marginalized farmers. Not to mention the 800,000 laborers involved in the sugar production and almost 4 million dependents. So I hope that the SRA has answers to our pressing questions. The joke
Masasabon
is
siya
that the
dito,
last
guys.
administration
Tingnan
of
natin
the
kung
department,
makakasagot siya.
it was no longer called the Department of Agriculture but the Department of Importation. Kasi import na lang ng import. Pag may kulang sa isda,
Kaya nga, import
kulang
na
ng
lahat.
manok, import. Imbis na tignan natin kung ano ba ang pangangailangan ng ating mga magsasaka para tulungan sila. Because
Tama.
food security is not only being able to have low-cost food available to the people, but it is also food self-sufficiency. Kasi kung nagkagera na sa buong mundo hindi tayo maka-import, di gutom tayo. We are not self-sufficient in feeding our people. As I have always said, Mr.
Once
President,
again, salamat,
I'm totally
Kapsat,
against
Takero
importation,
Miyamoto.
and I
Yung
mentioned
kiss mo,
this
ito na.
in our speech.
Yan
I
o.
understand that local sugar production has been hit hard by a 1-2-3 punch of a pandemic, rising costs of inputs, and natural disasters like Agapon and Odette that hit the Visayas recently. I know that we will need to import some sugar to meet the demand that local supply cannot cover. Tama po yan.
Tinanong din siya ni Kwan
Agree po
eh.
tayo
Ito
dyan.
nga.
But we must
Wait
not
lang. Mahaba
import
tong
more
privilege
than what we
speech ni
need.
Kwan eh.
We must
Fast forward natin ng
Reload
konti guys ha.
Can be seated. Before we administer your oath, we will have Senator Villar. Who else?
Oy.
Mr. Antes and
Halos
Mr.
lahat ng
Sy.
senador
What
nagtanong
about
dito guys.
Board
Murder talaga
Member
siya, murder.
Valderrama and board member Serafica? Are they
Ayan eh.
around or are they they're,
Si Dar dapat
virtually
hinahabol
present?
at
Kayo ba yun nasa
inimbestigan ginawang
na
pag-i-import. Sabi naman ni
What
Kent
about Mr.
Rolitz.
Serafica? Valderrama is present. I think Mr. Serafica is in the hospital. So,
Mr. Chair, good morning.
We will have first the opening statement of the chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture. Senator Villar, you're recognized.
Yo.
Ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to report on the Sugar Industry Development Fund, or law, which implementation should have prevented this problem.
Yun.
I want to inform the people that we passed RA 10659, or the Sugar Industry Development Act of 2015, an act promoting and supporting the competitiveness of the sugar industry and for other purpose. The purpose of which is to develop the competitiveness of the sugar industry, that means produce more sugar at a lower cost, enacted on April 15, 2015. Our SRA, or the Sugar Regulatory Administration, was given 2 billion per year to be spent for the following: 15% for grants to black farms under the Black Farm Program. Black farms are the organization of small farms of land reform beneficiaries for economies of scale. 15% for socialized credit under the Farm Support and Farm Mechanization Program, and farm inputs to be done by the Land Bank of the Philippines. 15% for research and development, capability building, and technology transfer activities under Research and Development, Extension Services, Human Resource Development, and Farm Support Programs, better signaling, better practices against disaster and climate change, training on farm school. I wish to inform you that as of today, since 2015, no single farm school for sugar was established. And 5% for scholarship grants to be provided to SUCs, to be provided by SUCs, ATI, and TESDA. And 50% for infrastructure support, including farm-to-mill roads, irrigation, and ports. SRA failed to implement. The SRA budget was cut to 1.5 billion in 2017, 1 billion in 2018, and only 500 million in 2019. And I, as chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture and Food, led the Senate inquiry into the implementation of this Sugarcane Industry Development Act and raised alarm over the reduction of the SUDA budget from 2 billion in 2018.
Fast forward natin ng konti guys ha. Wait
to
lang,
500
mahaba tong
million
pan
in
eh. Explanation ni
2019
Madam.
due to
Wait
the
lang.
are not able. Why is the SRA so
Ito na.
efficient about importation when they are very inefficient in the implementation of the Sugar Industry Development Act of 2015 and not using the Agriculture
Ang tagal,
Competitiveness Enhancement Fund to
Hinintay natin yung sagot.
So the chair, thank you. Him the said draft.
Ako,
At ito
nakita
yung
na.
inamin ni ES kanina. Sent him the said draft as well as a memorandum for the president.
Herminig
Ibig
Hildo.
sabihin
R.
po,
Serafica.
alam ni ES na may umiikot na draft order.
Ay, Kent
An
Rolitz.
order
Maraming
that
salamat
received
sa pakulay. Salamat
from
sa kulay.
stakeholders
Salamat.
of the sugar industry. Did he mention this at all to his principal? Di ba dapat ang ES pinoprotektahan ang prinsipal,
Ayun
ang
eh.
pangulo.
Ayun eh.
Di ba dapat ang ES gatekeeper?
Oh.
Sa totoo lang, this could have been a simple policy debate on the sterile question of do we need more
Guys, si
sugar?
antivirus, oh.
Pero bakit may packaging na niloloko ang Pangulo? Bakit pinapalabas na may paglilinlang? Why suggest na first
Shout out
time
Ma'am
na
Helen
nag-leak ng
Makatya,
sugar order number
watching
4
from UK.
when you were informed and kept in the loop as early as August 5? Panghuli, what did the ES think of the 100,000 metric tons standby stocks requested by the SRA to be imported by PITC? They knew this was a proposal. Was this acted upon? Was this to counter the hoarders? Mr. Chair, this only drives home the point na kailangan na talaga
Kaya nga,
natin
Kendro Litz,
ng maayos
halatang-halata
na
ngayon, no?
liderazgo
Tingnan nyo.
sa DA. I hope this is not a portent of things to come. Maglalabas ng order, iaatras ang order, i-deny
Si virus,
ang sangkot
guys.
sa order. Nobody
May
is
reklamo na
helped
naman eh.
by disorganized leadership. Not industry, not the traders, not the producers, and certainly not the consumers. This was not only about one man misinterpreting intent and acting outside powers. Ultimately, this is the fallout of a messy, haphazard bureaucracy. Wag na natin i-minimize ang damage na nagawa nito. So Mr. Chair, on that note, ang dami ko pong gustong tanungin kay ES. And while I do appreciate the fact that he faced the Blue Ribbon Committee, sa tingin ko po ay dapat pa nilang sagutin ang ilang mga nakabinbin pang katanungan. So joining with the manifestation earlier of the minority leader, I respectfully move, Mr. Chair, to recall the good ES to answer questions before this body. I so move, Mr. Chair. Salamat.
Thank you, Senator Ontiveros, but I think we will have to decide that as a group.
Oo,
And
tama. Hindi
as-
ikaw
As
lang.
laid down by the chair, the rules would be this. We thank the good senator. First, we will have the opening statement of the chair, the co-chair, and thereafter the members of the committee, if that is part of your opening statement, that has been placed on
Gets ko na
record.
guys.
And
Kaya
to-
pala may mga
to
opening
have an
statement sila, no? Ba?
orderliness, in these proceedings, we will have under oath the witnesses present here, and
Yes.
those physically present senators will be given the chance to ask questions.
Tama, tama.
Thereafter, those
Sige. Fast
virtually
forward natin ng
present
konti to.
will be asked.
Doon na
will be
tayo sa
given the chance to propound
pagtatanong ng
kailangan
question.
sagutin the persons.
Talaga naman si
Then,
virus,
On
oo.
floor of the Senate,
Okay.
to us to take
Ito na, ito
the
na,
crap
ito na.
would be Senator De La Rosa.
Okay, number one.
And,
Una.
The persons to be asked would be Yusek Sebastian,
Ay, lako, patay ka.
Dr. Robin C.,
Okay.
Mr. Antes,
Robin C.
And if-
Sebastian.
Mr. Attorney Beltran is present.
Mhm.
Uh,
Ang daming absent, guys. May kon sila, may medical certificate.
He's the one in the hospital. So,
Nagkakasakit na
the
sila sa
persons
hearing.
I mentioned a while ago will be subject to questioning from the Blue Ribbon Committee members. First to take a crack is Senator De La Rosa. You
Yon.
have 5 minutes. sir.
Senator Bato, 5 minutes. Larga.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Yusek,
Ito na, may magigisa, guys.
Sebastian.
Morning, Mr. Senator.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. And first of all, ako, sabihin ko lang sa iyo, I have no doubt about you. Alam kong nag-research muna ako about I found out na you have a very good track record, service track record. But since you are involved in this fiasco, you have to answer my questions. Is it all right with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, based doon sa sinabi kanina ni Executive Secretary, lahat ng text mo sa kanya regarding na nagpapalo up ka about this yung sugar order number 4 ay wala siyang sagot sa mga text mo. Is that true?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So wala siyang sagot. Now, sinabi niya na
Palakin
Ang
nga
sagot
natin
mo
ng
daw,
konti to.
sa kanya
Yan.
at saka si Sirapika ay akala ninyo na okay na kay Presidente. Is it true?
Pinirmahan eh. Okay na daw.
Correct, Your Honor.
That's correct. Ilang taon ka na bang yusik dyan sa agriculture, Sir Sebastian?
March to the present, Your Honor.
So bago lang.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, alam mo, sa amin, no, sa pulis at sa military, maraming namamatay sa maling akala. Pag nag-assume ka na nag-assume, ay talagang lives are at stake. Pwedeng mamamatay ka sa gira pag nag-assume ka na nag-assume. So, alam niyo yung ginawa niyong assumption is parang ako, kung ako ordinaryong tao, I cannot accept that reason. Na sabi niyo, napirmahan mo yung sugar order number 4 in behalf of the President or for and in behalf of the
Na-forge niya.
President being the Secretary of Agriculture. Napirmahan mo yan dahil sa maling akala. Parang hindi ko matanggap-tanggap yung
Maling
yung
akala. Guys,
rason
maling
na yan.
akala pala eh.
Kala meron pa bang mas malaking rason dyan? Aside sa maling akala. People are wondering, people are speculating na meron pang mas mabigat na rason siguro yan. Bakit mo pinirmahan? Hindi lang sa makala. Ako, I don't buy that justification. Forgive me for my frankness. Maling akala. I will not buy that explanation. Please give me more satisfying explanation.
Oo nga naman guys, no? Shout out Ma'am Melanie
I have
Isquera.
prepared a statement, but it will not allow me to read.
With the permission of
submit
Senator
it.
De La Rosa, is your statement different from your submitted sworn statement?
It summarizes, Your Honor.
It
And,
summarizes your
and put
sworn
this-
statement.
And it put into context the decision, how we arrived on SO4.
Kasi binigyan niyo po kami ng affidavit niyo.
That's correct. Your
So
Honor.
there is now a second affidavit.
No, this is not. This is more of a statement summarizing more or less,
No,
and
but
putting into context.
That will be converted into a sworn statement because you are under oath right now.
Okay, that's all. That's all.
So
right,
what's the
sir.
difference between the first affidavit and your second statement?
It only put it into context, Your Honor, the decision, because the affidavit is more of a narrative, Your Honor, of events.
Mhm.
So it supplements.
It supplements, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but before he
And
delivers
let me,
his
to
opening
answer.
statement, I just would like to get an answer,
Yes, Your
instant answer from my question.
The instant answer, Your Honor, is that
Instant noodles.
starting July or even earlier than that, we are already seeing the rise of price of sugar and also the diminishing supply of domestic sugar, Your Honor. And as an official of the Department of Agriculture, I am monitoring all these developments, and I'm very concerned that prices are going up. And just like in other commodities, prices are going up, and we in the department are being pressured also to do something, Your Honor. So we presented the briefer. We gave the president a briefer.
Guys, tanong lang.
Mid-July, Your Honor.
Naririnig ba?
Already alerting.
Parang feeling
of
ko hindi.
the diminishing supply of sugar.
Mahina
and
sa
also
akin
the
eh. Mahina.
rising price of sugar, Your Honor. So SRA indicated in their data that we only have a supply of sugar of up to the end of August. So the private sector were also pushing for more supply of sugar. We have dialogue with them. We consulted the millers, the refiners, and the planters, and they were all unanimous in proposing that we go into 300,000 importation, Your Honor. So these are all documented. The sugar order was not decided in one day. It went through a process of consultation and discussion with many stakeholders. We base it on data, Your Honor. And that the pressure to come up with to supplement the supply, local supply, was really there, Your Honor. So if you can imagine, Your Honor, you're given the authority. I was given the authority under a memorandum last July 15, 2022, which put me in a bind, Your Honor, because if I don't act, I could be reprimanded or something like that. But if I also act, that's also the risk, Your Honor. So I decided that based on that authority and having briefed the President on August 1, during our meeting in Malacanang, as indicated by the Honorable Executive Secretary, and also coming from feedback from the meeting of the Executive Secretary with Administrator Sarapica,
Salamat,
Board
Kendro
Member
Litz.
Valderrama, and also the President on August 4, wherein Administrator Sarapica was directed by the President to submit a sugar order, a sugar importation program, which he communicated to me, Your Honor, on August 5, which the Executive Secretary also admitted that it was,
Kaya nga, Ma'am Zenny, maling
it was
akala.
sent to him directly by Administrator Sarapica, and which they also communicated through memorandum to the President, and then with subsequent follow-up, but getting no reply, and considering the urgency of the situation on sugar, which we now feel, Your Honor, because you see, Your Honor, even if we approve sugar order number 4, now it will take us at least 1 month before the supply will arrive at the earliest, Your Honor. So all those situations, Your Honor.
Yusek, I think you're now lecturing Senator De La Rosa. Ang tinatanong lang niya, yes or no, and then thereafter you proceed with your supplemental affidavit. Para ano tayo, concise. Maliligaw
Yes.
tayo nito, maliligaw tayo.
Yes,
Yes,
I would
Your
like to restate my question, Yusek, no? Sabi mo, authorized ka, pumirma.
Yan na.
Before, kina-counter mo yung... but before I ipagpatuloy ko yon, I would like to express my appreciation sa iyong ginawa that you voluntarily resign from your post. That was a very gentlemanly act coming from you. But just to get to the bottom of this, please answer my question.
Kanina pa niya tinatanong yan, guys, ha?
You are authorized. Therefore, you are contradicting the statement of Malacanang that sugar order number 4 is illegal. You are not authorized to sign according to them.
As per the July 15, 2022 memorandum from the Executive Secretary, as authorized by the President, Your Honor, it is very clear, if I may read, and I think that was also cited by the Honorable Risa Ontiveros.
Yusek, no need for that. We have
Yeah.
copies of that. That has been all
that-
over. Yes
that
or
is
no
the-
yung tanong, and then
yes.
thereafter yung...
Kaya nga, yes or no lang ang panasagot, eh.
That is the basis of my signing, Your Honor.
So you mean to say you have the authority to sign
Ayan na.
order number 4? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
With good conscience, Your Honor, that was my basis.
Walang yaya mo sumagot, daming kwento, eh. My God, mga kamsat, ano ba sabi nyo?
Senator De La Rosa, your 5 minutes is now 10 minutes. Senator Estrada will...
I think my 5 minutes, Your Honor, was Mr. Chairman.
Guys, hindi nasagot. My God, yes or no lang, eh.
The answer was very long. Can it be
now,
given?
you are arguing with me. Sir.
Sorry,
I will.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
I will,
I just would like to yield to Senator Jingo Estrada.
Thank you.
My God.
Just a follow-up question.
Hey guys, mag-comment kayo din na mag-react kayo.
Questioning of us.
React kayo dyan, guys. React kayo.
Mr. Sebastian.
Ito na. Senator Estrada na.
Did you talk or approach the president before you signed SO number 4?
Oh, yes or no lang
I
yan.
did not have that chance, Your Honor.
Did you not even call him or make an appointment with the president before you signed SO4? Because I have this document SO number 4. You signed. Your signature appears. You signed in, above the name
Of the president.
of the president.
I signed for the Secretary of Agriculture, Your Honor, who is
Yes.
also the chair of SRA.
You signed in behalf of the Secretary
Sorry.
of Agriculture,
Which is
the president
the
himself.
president.
Am I correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Why did you not ask permission from the president?
I base it on the authority that was given to me in good faith, Your Honor.
Mhm. In
Ah,
good
Authority
faith na.
given to you by whom?
In
by
good faith.
by that memo on July 15,
By the executive secretary?
2022.
By the
By
executive
the executive
secretary?
secretary as authorized by the president.
Yes. Did you
Your Honor.
talk to the executive secretary before signing this in behalf of the president?
I sent the memorandum on August 5, Your Honor, and as also mentioned by the executive secretary, I texted
Tama ka dyan,
him
Ma'am Melanie. Nasa hospital na to mamaya.
the following Sunday.
So he did not reply. Am I correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Dalawang
He did not
senator pa
reply,
lang yan, ha?
but you still signed it
We still have
if- in
22
without
more.
any permission coming from the president himself.
That is correct, Your Honor. In my affidavit,
You
I
shouldn't have
stated-
signed the
Your
SO
Honor.
number 4 without without the approval of the president.
There is also in that memorandum, Your Honor, that whatever I do can be considered regular unless disapproved or reprobated by the President, Your Honor. And that is exactly what the President did when I informed him personally on August 10,
Salamat, Kendrolid. Salamat.
2022, Your Honor, when I reported to him that we have approved the 300,000
Guys, kabadong-kabado na si
tons,
Sebastian, no?
importation for sugar, and he disapproved that my action, Your Honor, and also the importation. So I immediately conveyed that to Administrator Serapica, and Administrator Serapica also did revoke or remove the publication of that special order, sugar order number 4, Your Honor.
But I still believe
Shout out,
that,
BB
you have,
Kings. Light Evans is in the
clearance
house. Ayan eh.
of the president because your authority to act as chairman of the board emanated from the president. Am I correct?
I was acting in good faith and because of the urgency of the matter, Your Honor. But with full sense also, Your Honor, that it can be disapproved and reprobated by the President.
Senator Estrada, with just a 1 minute direction from the chair. Will the good committee secretary provide all the 5 members in this elevated platform the thick folders? Because I see now a lot of staff members are having that thick folders that should be provided to the members of this committee. Dapat bigyan din kami rito. Ito yung tinatanong ni Senator Estrada, wala kaming kopya. Can you provide us with 5 more copies here, including the Senate President? Yung mga senator sa baba, bigyan nyo rin. Pero kami, walang kopya dito.
Ang daming senador na nandyan sa committee yan, guys.
Senator Estrada, you still have the floor.
Ayun.
I'm done, Mr. Chair.
Ay,
Thank
okay.
you, Senator Estrada.
Fast forward ng
So,
konti.
we'll,
Oops.
Yes, I will again reiterate the firing order. After Senator De La Rosa, the Senate President will be propounding a few questions
Ayan.
directed to Yusek Sebastian. Thereafter, it's the turn of
Fast forward ng
Senator
konti,
Estrada.
guys. Eto na.
Identified under the Graft and Corrupt Practices Law, Mr. Chairman, particularly on this issue on SO4. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, first of all, the onset of my statement, say that Yusek Sebastian is a well-respected member of the agri community. I just came from Los Baños celebrating the 100 years of UP Ranchers Club. Ako po ay member ng rodeo team dyan. At lahat ng kausap ko po doon, kaibigan niya po, si Yusek Sebastian, has nothing but high praise for tech on this particular issue was not his and his alone. That's why my question, my
Yama,
question
tama.
to
May
your
punto,
honors
may
is,
punto.
sino po talaga umudyok sa
Yun!
na kailangan po natin
Sino nga ba?
I mean, you're new to the industry.
Aminin
Your
na,
Honor. You're
aminin
new to the
na.
department. Am I correct? You're less than 1 year in the department?
Months.
You're just a few months old, no? Is that correct, Yusek?
Your Honor, I've been with the Department of Agriculture. You remember, Your Honor, I was Executive Director of the Philippine Rice Research Institute, and you visited one
Yes.
time
Okay,
with rice.
because I only have 5 minutes before my chairman might.
I just
cut me off.
rejoined. I just
You are the Senate
rejoined.
President. You have the
I rejoined in 2021, Your Honor, the government service after working abroad, Your Honor.
Yes, so you're not a newcomer when it comes to
Sugar.
helping the agri sector. And actually, we welcomed your appointment at the time when you were newly appointed once again as a member of the Department of Agriculture. However, Your Honor, you're new to the industry. I believe you're more of a livestock, poultry,
Rice, Your
and
Honor.
rice.
Rice.
That's correct. So you're new to the sugar industry. So there must have been external factors to convince you to import this or to sign sugar importation order. Was it the
Kabado na sila, Ma'am
administrator,
Zenny.
his co-administrator, his members of the board, who somebody had to convince you? You cannot just sign the order without them showing you the data.
Sa mga bagong pasok dyan, guys, huwag kalimutan
On
mag-like
the
and subscribe.
lack of
Salamat
sugar
po. Salamat sa 67
supply.
likes.
Am I correct in saying that it was the administrator and the board, or who in the board convinced you about this sugar order number 4?
Yan na, yan na. Sagutin,
Your
sagutin.
Honor, you mentioned that I work in the agriculture sector.
Nako,
the
pinaikot na
RRP
naman.
specifically. And I'm very, for me, Your Honor, data is very important for me in making decision. So I studied the data that was presented to me by SRA. We also did our own data analysis in the Department of Agriculture. And it convinced me, Your Honor, because I always make my decision also based on those things, that there is really a big problem when it comes to the supply of sugar that we have to
Well.
up or do something, Your Honor.
Okay,
So,
Yusek, you're saying that you're utilizing the data. I have with me here this document coming from the SRA insiders themselves. The data is very clear. I do not know if they hid this from you. I do not know if you're familiar. The data is very clear under the former sugar order number
Kulong na yung mga yan.
which they imported, allowed
Patay tayo
importation
dyan.
of 200,000 metric tons.
Shout
There
out
is still a
Noel.
balance of almost 126,000 metric tons that have not been released. This is a
Guys, kuha ako ng tubig ah.
that have
Saglit
not
lang,
been
kuha ako ng
released
tubig.
yet. So what shortage are we talking about? Di nga na-release itong asukal na ito. And if I may be allowed, may we ask the nandiyan na, ready na ba yung aking tao? Papakita ko lang sa inyo yung bodega na parang mga dagat ng asukal. It's just a sea of sugar that have been apprehended in the last few days in bodegas all over the country. Please go ahead there, Jess. Pakita mo. Yan. Asukal yan. Dahan-dahan lang. Yan, galing sa container. Ayan pa. Yan, parang dagat ng asukal. Sea of sugar. These are container vans. They have sugar hidden in them. Ayan, sec. That's not made up. I'm not making this up. That was from the BOC. ISAP. The last few days. Different bodegas from Quezon City, Laguna, Bulacan, Pampanga. Sige, may video pa. Saan ba yung video? Gusto mo pakita pa namin yung video. Is this a shortage? Is this the shortage that you're saying? Your honors in the DA. Ayan. Ano yan? Are we pretending that that's not in existence? Is that being hoarded for price manipulation? Oh, let's show the video, if I may be allowed by my dear colleagues. 1 minute lang yun. Just can we show the video I sent you, if it is ready? Pinasukan nila. Meron pang Mr. Chairman, meron pang mga makina na ililipat nila from imported sugar to locally manufactured sugar para to escape the taxes. importation taxes, pati yung VAT payment ng VAT, kasi syempre yung local sugar, may preferential treatment yun. VAT exempt. Diyos ko po, Your Honors. So you're talking about data, Your Honor. This is the data I have from the SRA. Meron pang asukal na naiwan sa bodega. Meron pang parating na almost 30,000 metric tons. Tapos meron tayong laman sa bodega, USEC. How can you explain that? So what shortage are we talking about? That's why I'm saying, USEC, no, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. Kasi nga, you're new to the industry. I am asking you now, sino talaga ang nag-push sa'yo, nagsabi sa'yo, USEC, we need to do this? Was it the butlers? Was it the stakeholders? Was it one of those individuals in the SRA? Was it a particular importer? Or was it just your own decision? Because I can't believe it was just your own decision, Your Honor, because again, you're a stickler for data. I have the data right here, which contradicts what you said. I have the pictures of the toniladang 100,000+ metric tons of sugar in the bodegas. So, what is it, Yusek?
Kaya nga.
Your Honor,
Ang
you
daming
mentioned we have 123,000 metric tons.
Bureau of
Our monthly
Customs.
consumption
Ah,
for
kanila.
raw sugar, Your Honor, is 170,000 metric tons per month. And approximately 85,000 metric tons per month for refined sugar, Your Honor. So 123 can last for how many days, Your Honor? And based from the data that we have, SRA and DA, Your Honor, we will need about 212,000. We will have a deficit of 212,000 metric tons for raw sugar, Your Honor, even if the milling has started in September and October. It is only in November that we will be able to produce enough raw sugar to meet our demand. For refined sugar, Your Honor, we have a deficit including, for example, including the SO number 3, Your Honor, because of the demand that we have. We have a deficit of about 319,000 metric tons, Your Honor, up to December, because we don't produce enough refined sugar. So, Your Honor, if you see those data, it is very compelling, Your Honor, that, and if you look at the prices, Your Honor, prices do not just go up because of hoarding. There is hoarding when there is a tight supply, Your Honor. And there is smuggling also, Your Honor, if there is a
Your
tight
Honor,
supply, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman, precisely the hoarding is the price manipulation. You're saying there's a tight supply, but we have supply.
Yes.
Kaya mahirap sa DA po. I'm with due respect to my dear friends in the DA. With due respect, I'm an agriculturist by education and by profession. Kaya mahal ko kayo. Pero parang business as usual, hindi na wawala yung hoarding. Frustration po namin ni Senator Villar, wala pong nakakasuhan pa sa illegal smuggling at hoarding. Hanggang na yun, wala naman tayo nakikita. Pero yan, nakita na po natin. They're shouting supply. Release
Maraming
the
na hoard.
sugar. Hindi naman yan gumagalaw eh.
Ilang
Now, my point,
mga
Your
bodega.
Honor, according to the industry, because I'm also part of the industry, Bukidnon is the second largest, by the way. Your Honor, Bukidnon is the second largest producer of sugar next to Negros Occidental. So maraming apektadong magsasaka pag bumagsak ang presyo ng asukal dahil sa sobrang importation. Kaya, ang sabi ng mga stakeholders, and we visited the President the other day, complete po yan, Unifed, Panay-Fed, Luzon Fed, they were all there, the federations, that if there will be a need to import, you're only looking at less than 150,000, 100 to 150,000. Why? Nag-umpisa na po ang Negros Occidental
Atat.
milling. So mangyayari, pagpasok nito ng October ng 300,000 metric tons as your plan under SO4, nagka-milling na, nagka-letse-letse na dahil meron na tayong local production, meron tayong napakaraming imported rice at sugar from Thailand. Bagsak na bagsak ang presyo. Ang kawawa dyan ang mga magsasaka.
Farmers.
I believe you were misinformed on the amount because I was told that they were not, the stakeholders were not informed. I do not, that is the problem, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, when you say, oh, we had notified the stakeholders. Sino-sino yun? Dalawang tao? Tatlong tao? May Sugar Alliance eh. Hindi po kayo nagtawag ng Sugar Alliance meeting. And correct me if I'm wrong. the deputy administrators were not consulted about SO number 4 until it was signed, until it was prepared and pushed. Are the deputy administrators here? There. Can you please come to the
Shout out, June,
with the permission, of course, of our chairman,
Palpalatok,
and please
shout out.
confirm that you were not informed about
Jupao
SO
Gasol,
number
shout
four.
out.
Deputy
With the
administrators.
indulgence of Senate President, may we inquire from the committee secretary if the gentleman approaching the middle area has been sworn and not yet? Attorney, can you administer the oath?
Yes, Your Honor.
Deputy Administrator.
Sige, pass forward
Please
natin
proceed.
to.
Can you please raise your right hand?
As I have pertinent details of
Yan.
what transpired, and I'd like to share
May
it with
katabi
the
na siya.
committee. While awaiting SRA Administrator Serafika, we will just like to put on record and ask the Deputy Administrator,
Nandiyan
I
din pala
was
si
told
Serapika.
by insiders that you were not informed about this plan on SO4, sugar order number 4, until after it was consummated, which is not part of protocol. I believe it is management first who comes out with the recommendation to the SRA administrator and the board, and after which it is duly approved. Is that correct, Your Honor?
I affirm and confirm that I, the Deputy Administrator for Regulation Department, along with the two other Deputy Administrators, one for the Admin and Finance and the other for Research and Development and Extension, as well as the Legal Manager who is in front of me, and the other managers of the Sugar Regulatory Administration have not been consulted on this SO3.
Mr. Senator,
Your Honor.
Can you identify the personalities you mentioned, the person in front of you who failed to inform you? Pwede mo banggitin yung pangalan? Hindi ka in-inform, no?
The Sugar Board did not communicate with us, Your Honor, as far as the crafting and the issuance of Sugar Order number 4, Your Honors.
It's sugar order number 3, na-inform kayo dati.
Shout out,
We were
Rocky
part
Maceda.
of the issuance and crafting
Salamat sa
and
salamat
processing
mga sa
of
mga
Sugar Order
nag-like
number
po.
3, Your
Salamat.
Honors.
Senate President, you have the witness.
So do you feel that it is not proper on sugar order number 4, what transpired, that it was not proper procedure? Dapat nasabihan dapat kayo para makabigay naman po kayo ng opinion ninyo, kasi kayo ang nasa regulation, kayo ang nasa legal, yung mga deputy administrators.
According to our SRA government,
Salamat, Ma'am Jocelyn Herrera.
under the GCG rules, Your Honor, the management is defined as the administrator, as composed of the administrator, the Sugar Board, and all managers, Your Honor. And as by good practice in our quality management system, would require that all endorsements before the Sugar Board's approval must pass through and be routed to all the managers and the deputy administrators prior to endorsement officially to the Sugar Board, Your Honors.
So you confirm this is not proper protocol?
This is not in accordance with our rules, therefore it's not proper protocol, Your Honor.
Nagulat po kayo nung nangyari po ito? Ano ang sentimento ng ating mga deputy administrators at the time?
Well, all of us we were not surprised that there was a brewing attempt to, efforts to have an SO4, but we did not know about it officially, Your Honors.
Senate President, if
Yes,
I may
please,
add another
Your Honor.
question. Can I have your name again? Medyo malayo kasi.
Attorney Guillermo Tejeda III, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any board resolution? Are you aware of any management action authorizing a certain administrator, Serafika, to act for and in behalf of the board?
We are not aware, and I am not personally aware of that, Your Honor.
Sebastian, meron bang management action na pwedeng kumilos mag-isa si Mr. Serafika on behalf of the board? Mr. Sebastian.
Administrator Serapika acting on behalf of the board? No, Your Honor.
So walang ganon.
To my knowledge, Your Honor, there's no such thing.
Paano mamaya kung mapatunayan kung meron ganon?
I'm not aware of that, Your Honor. I'm new to the board also. You see, I was only designated July 15, 2022, Your Honor. So
Give me some time, and I will provide the contrary. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President, my dear chairperson, I would just hold further questions until former SRA Administrator Serafika arrives, because my questions will be, of course, asked and propounded to him. And I think I'd just like to thank the Deputy Administrators for your candor and truthfulness in the issue. And also to Yusek Sebastian. Yusek, marami kang kaibigan sa agriculture industry. First of all, I salute you for taking responsibility and resigning
Ayun eh.
right away with your irrevocable resignation.
Next tayo,
Sana
next guys.
i-clear
Okay na tayo kay Senator Remix. Ito
nung
na.
pong pulong, nung
Teka lang, atras tayo ng konti. Mukhang
There's
may...
a violation of
Rapika to proceed to Malacanang. And after that, Your Honor, I was informed by Administrator Serapika that they have a meeting together with ES and through Zoom with the President and the then newly appointed board member Valderrama. No other details, Your Honor, was given to me, except the following day when I was sent an email by Administrator Serapika that he was called to Malacanang August 4 and ordered by the President to submit a sugar order program, a sugar importation program, Your Honor, which he transmitted to me during that day, Your Honor. And again, it was also the basis of my writing a memo to the President, Your Honor. I think it's in my affidavit, Your Honor, the details.
so we can conclude, former Yusek, na sa pagitan ng 2 araw na iyon, August 4 hanggang August 5, kung kailangan idinirect kayo na mag-submit ng sugar importation plan, at the very least, live pa yung proposal na mag-import ng 300,000 metric tons. Hindi pa po na disapprove at that point in time. Yung eventually pumaloob sa SO4.
The 300,000, Your Honor, has been circulating already for some time, Your Honor, because
Right?
there was a stakeholder consultation on July 29, and then they also made endorsement. These different stakeholders, they made endorsement on the amount, and more or less, I think if you review the different press releases that has been circulating in the industry, Your Honor.
Salamat, Yusek. Doon po sa lumabas na slide ni ES, yung isang slide nila, lumabas po yung memorandum kung saan may proposal, bukod pa po sa 300,000, may panukala mag-import ng dagdag pang 100 metric tons. So tama po ba na on top of the 300 or 100,000 metric tons rather? So tama po ba na on top of the 300,000 metric tons pa iyon, yung 100,000 metric tons additional? Tama po ba yon?
If approved by the President, Your Honor.
Yes,
that would be
if approved by
additional.
the President. So, proposal
let me-
na po.
Let me
Yes.
clarify, Your Honor, that the 100,000 was a suggestion, Your Honor.
Mhm.
But PITC came back later that they can only handle 50,000, Your Honor.
50,000. Sige po. Pero nung ang suggestion ay 100,000 metric tons, ano yung justification noon? Why was the initial suggestion bago pinababa ng PITC sa 50,000 metric tons? Bakit po yung initial na mungkahi, dagdag sa 300,000 metric tons ay 100,000 metric tons?
Before finalizing the memorandum, Your Honor, I have a conversation with PITC. And it was suggested, Your Honor, that PITC would like a rolling stock, something like that, replenishable. But I told PITC that this is not possible because usually the memo will only be for a fixed volume. So I suggested that if we can increase it so that you can use that. But later they came back, Your Honor. But I have already sent the memo, Your Honor, by the time. But the original recommendation of SRA, Your Honor, is also 50,000.
I see you, Sec. Yun namang pong mga bodega na nakikita natin, no? Yung 126 or 123,000 metric tons na yan mula sa Sugar Order 3, yun po ba ay pupunta sa end users? Ibig sabihin, ito ba yung mga ibebenta sa mga supermarket?
I don't have a good knowledge of SO number 3, Your Honor, but from what I know, it's more for industrial users, Your Honor.
I see. And okay, so hindi ito yung mapupunta sa end users. Hindi po ito yung mabibili namin sa mga supermarket. Are you gesturing USEC for
Yeah.
another resource person to answer?
Yes, Your
I'll
Honor.
ask
I think
Mr.
Deputy
Chair?
Administrator Tijada, I think, has more knowledge on sugar order number 3, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Chair? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You can answer, Deputy Administrator.
Yes, sir. Well, Your Honor, the 200,000 metric tons under sugar order number 3 is exclusively for the industrial users.
Hmm.
All of the 200,000, Your Honor, metric tons.
So, pati po yung nakikita pa natin, Deputy Administrator, pati po yung nakikita natin sa mga bodega hanggang ngayon, yung 123 or 126,000 metric tons under SO3, industrial po ito, bound for industrial use.
Subject to verification, Madam. First off, in Subic, the 7,000 metric tons inspected and intercepted by the Bureau of Customs were already cleared by the Office of the Deputy Administrator on behalf of the SRA that it is covered by pertinent clearance for release of imported goods. Those intercepted in Batangas were also covered. We already cleared that it is also covered by SO3 clearance. We are still verifying if those raided in Manila, the 3 warehouses, were part of SO3, but what we can confirm are that the owners of these 3 warehouses are registered under sugar order number 3. That in Pampanga, the raided warehouse, we already confirmed that it is not owned by an international trader nor a participant of SO3, and the warehouse is not also registered with SRA, which is a violation of our existing rules. And that in Pampanga, in Bulacan, the 49,000 or so, subject to verification by the Bureau of Customs, is locally sourced as per our initial investigation. And the owner is not a trader. The owner is also not a participant, therefore, of SO3. And the warehouse is also not registered with the SRA.
Salamat, Deputy Administrator. So, yung sa Batangas po, ilang libong metro tonelada yon?
Yes, Your Honor. As per my conversation this morning with our licensing and monitoring division of SRA,
Patay tayo dyan, Sir Noel.
be accounting for some
Shoutout sa ating 71 viewers. Huwag kalimutan mag-like
200,000
and
bags,
subscribe.
Your Honor, and that
Which is
in
how many metric tons? Sorry.
times 20, Your Honor.
Okay.
Divide by 20.
Uh-huh.
So that's only 200,000 bags.
Bags.
50 kilo bag. That in Pampanga would only number around less than 200 imported sugar, but subject to verification.
Less than 200,000 bags.
No, in Pampanga, Your Honor, it's only 200 bags.
200 bags. Hindi ako ganun kabilis mag-multiply. Pero out of yung tinatanong ko pong 123,000 metric tons, yung 200,000, ano ba yun? Yung 7,000.
Nalito na,
metric tons,
nalito na.
Sabi nyo, verified na for industrial yon under SO3. Tama po?
Yes.
And then,
yes po.
And then, meron pa kayong 200,000 bags for verification sa Batangas. Meron kayo sa Manila, hindi nyo binigay yung amount. May 200 bags lamang sa Pampanga na not under SO3. May 49,000 bags sa Bulacan na hindi rin under SO3. So we can surmise na dun sa 123,000 metric tons na posibleng meron doon na bound for end users through the supermarkets, pero meron ding mula doon na for industrial use. Tama po ba?
Yes po, ma'am. What we can confirm is that all those verified to be under SO3 cannot be sold to the local market because SO3 mandates that it's only dedicated to the industrial users.
Yes.
If I may po, just an update.
With the indulgence of Senator Risa.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
You have less than 30 seconds to go. We recognize the arrival of Senator Amy Marcos.
Ayan na!
Please proceed for.
Amy Marcos,
you can
mga
answer
kapatid.
the last question, Yusek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then I have a brief manifestation after the Deputy Administrator. Yes, sir. Unless the former USEC Sebastian, Mr. Chair, would like to make a closing statement, answer to my questions thus far.
What was the question?
Well,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair, with the indulgence of Senator Risa, we have
Yes,
a
Mr.
copy
Chair.
of your affidavit
Yes, Your Honor.
dated today, August 22. Kanina lang bang umaga yan?
21, Your Honor.
22. 22 ka nag-out dun sa notaryo. So, saan ka nakakita ng notaryo kanina bago pumunta
Hindi.
rito? O, pinos date na lang, dahil linggo.
Oh, Your Honor. I think it was submitted yesterday, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, since the USEC would not wish to reply to my last questions, then I'll just make a final manifestation dito po sa line of questioning ko so far, dahil nga po yung karamihan ng mga tanong ko ay para sana kay ES. Sa susunod na hearing na itatakda ng chair, imbitahin si ES, magtatanong po ako tungkol sa SRA not being the agency with inspection and visitorial powers to
Talagang ayaw niyang tigilan si Executive Secretary.
Tanong tungkol sa parang kulang na kulang ang intel ng Malacanang sa mga isinagawang
Mhm.
raids. Pangatlo, doing a fast forward, ano yung magiging epekto nitong aktual na epekto nitong mga raids
Shout out Maldita de
sa
Premiera.
presyo ng asukal, kung talagang maibababa sa at least 70 pesos per kilo, at kung paano kung may mahanap na smuggled at hino-hoard pero konti lang pala, again, anong overall na impact nito sa presyo. And lastly, Mr. Chair, on yung epekto nitong lahat sa ating mga sugar planters, lalo na po yung mga maliliit. Binalita po kasi ng isang mayor sa ANC na 13 sa 26 na barangay nila ay tumigil na sa pagtatanim ng tubo, nag-shift na po sa palay. So one thing so far, at least to this representation, Mr. Chair, is clear. While we certainly need to have cheap sugar, it should not be at the expense of our farmers. I reiterate my call na bigyan ng agarang ayuda ang magsasaka. Lalo pa sumirit pataas ang presyo ng urea. So our producers need all the help they can get, all sizes of producers, Mr. Chair, at lalong-lalo na po yung mga maliliit. So for now, Mr. Chair, I will suspend
Thank you,
my
Senator Holdero.
questioning. Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Next to propound a question or questions would be Senator Estrada. Thereafter, it will be the turn of Senator Rafi Tulfo.
Anak ko, yan na.
And after the questioning of Senator
Fast forward.
Chair, I will suspend
Thank you,
my
Senator Holdero.
questioning.
Thank you.
Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Next to propound a question or question.
What data or formula were used to arrive at the 300 metric tons allocation?
We have the computation, Your Honor, but to come up with 300,000, there was also a stakeholder consultation because if you look at the total deficit, Your Honor, it's actually bigger, but you cannot import all of that. Otherwise, we will have oversupply, Your Honor.
The Senate President has shown videos and photos of the warehouses of sugar here in Metro Manila and in the provinces. Hindi pa ba sapat yun?
Kulang pa ba yung mga
Your Honor, as I have mentioned a while ago,
nalaman?
we need about 170,000 metric tons, Your Honor, 170,000 metric tons of raw sugar every month, and 85,000 metric tons of refined sugar every month, Your Honor.
Every month.
Every month. So if you have 123,000, or let's just make it 186,000 metric tons that arrive under SO3, that can only last for how many months, Your Honor? And that is the one that was imported is for industrial use, not for home consumption, Your Honor.
So in sugar order number 3, was this already implemented? The importation?
Your Honor, if I may, it is implemented and it is ongoing, in fact, Your Honor.
Excuse me?
It is ongoing.
Ongoing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Sebastian, you haven't answered the question of the Senate President. Sino ba nag-udyok sa inyo?
Ayan na, paulit-ulit na lang.
Or
Per,
did you decide on your own?
Your Honor, there was as I've been emphasizing, there was an urgency of the situation that we are
How
having.
can there be an urgency if you have seen the photos and the videos of the warehouses? And daming asukal.
Your Honor, we are talking about the months of October, September and October when we have a big deficit for brown sugar, yung parang pang-banana Q, and then we have a big deficit for refined sugar up to December, Your Honor. And we are talking about how many months, Your Honor?
In sugar order number 4, section 2, why do you allow the assignment of sugar allocation from one qualified applicant to another?
Can you repeat the question, Your Honor?
In sugar order number 4, section 2, why do you allow the assignment of sugar allocation from one qualified applicant to another?
I am not familiar with the detail of that, Your Honor. Maybe we can ask.
Pumirma ka
Administrator-
rito, hindi ka pamilyar.
Patay tayo dyan. Hindi niya alam yung
Did you have a
pinipirmahan niya?
copy of, the order that you signed?
Or baka naman pangalan ni Kwan, President Bongbong Marcos as Agricultural Secretary, pinirma na naman niya. Naka po, i-review mo. Sige, go. Review. Naka po. Patay tayo dyan.
So the question of Senator Estrada is why are you allowing the assignment of import allocation to another qualified applicant, which is part of your section 2, SO number 4. And try to recall if it is likewise part of SO number 3.
Fast forward natin konti.
Paano?
The assignment is allowed, Your Honor,
Bah,
if
allowed
the
daw.
assignee is another qualified, is a qualified trader, Your Honor.
Don't you think that is prone to abuses?
I don't think so, Your Honor, because it will still pass through the SRA, Your Honor. The papers and other requirements will pass through the SRA. So there's always a check and balance, Your
May I
Honor.
know what is the reason behind it? Ba't kailangan ipasa pa sa ibang qualified applicants?
Well, the tenor of the SO4 allowing the assignment, Your Honor, is not mandatory.
What do you mean it is not mandatory?
The subject provision, Your Honor, says a qualified participant may assign its import allocation. So it's up to him, Your Honor, whether to assign the import allocation or not. If for whatever reason, say, he could not do the importation because of logistics reason, Your Honor.
Nininervyos na sila, guys.
So ang tanong ni Senator Estrada at yun din attorney, anong dahilan nito? Kasi tinitingnan ko yung SO number 3. Parang hindi ko nakikita sa SO number 3 yung assign. At hindi ko rin nakikita sa SO number 3 yung hindi ko nakikita sa SO number 4 yung nakalagay sa SO number 3 yung payment of performance bond. Meron sa SO3, wala sa SO4. So, bakit may mga pagkakaibang ganito? Magkakaiba ba yung shortage? Yun siguro ang gist ng tanong ni Senator Estrada. You answer that or do you want additional time? You compare SO3.
Wala na, nakakuan na, guys.
I'm sure you've been with
Natulala na sila.
quite long period of time and you've been preparing
Okay,
this.
fast forward natin to.
So tanong niya, bakit
Fast forward.
ng
Oh, teka, Rafi Tulfo, dali lang.
Thank you. Senator Estrada is excusing himself for a while, so he will continue that line of questioning when it returns.
Next,
So
mukhang
we
si
can now
Senator
have
Tulfo na,
Senator
guys.
Tulfo,
Eto na,
before we
Tulfo na,
suspend.
Tulfo na. Pakinggan
Senator
natin.
Tulfo, you're
Thank you.
recognized. You have your 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From where I'm sitting,
Wala
I
ako
can
ng
see
tubig, guys, ha?
very clearly that Yusek Sebastian is very stressed out. And I don't want to add further to his anxiety by asking hard questions just like my colleagues did. So is it possible, Mr. Chair, if there are people from the Bureau of Customs who are around, and I would rather direct my questions to them because I don't want them to get off the hook, because the Senate President a while ago did say na wala pa rin nakakasuhan sa smuggling ng sugar. So therefore, gusto ko magbato ng katanungan sa kanila tungkol doon sa sinabi ni SP. Are there
That's
people
a
present
relevant
from the Bureau
question,
of Customs?
Senator Tulfo. May we ask the Committee Secretariat, are there resource persons from the Bureau of Customs now?
No, Your Honor, none present yet.
Okay.
Were they invited?
No. I mean, they can be invited to the next hearing, Your Honor,
For
but
the next
they're not
hearing.
present today. Neither were they invited.
Senator Tulfo, they're not
Okay.
around.
Well, then I have to ask you a question and maybe make a request, Yusek Sebastian. Sorry, you're going to be off. You're going to be, you're not going to like my question, my direct question. To me, you seem to be a very smart guy, tama?
All right.
So many people vouch for your character. Marami ako narinig about you.
Eto
even
na.
From SB Mig Subiri. And I was told na ikaw ay galing sa abroad. At nakapag-aral ho ba kayo sa abroad?
Yes, Your Honor. As a scholar, Your Honor.
Scholar. Okay. Ano pong tinapos niyo po, sir?
I got my PhD from Cornell University, Your Honor.
Yun!
Wow, PhD Cornell University sa abroad.
Sana
Okay.
all!
So that means you're a very, very smart guy, right? So if you're a smart guy, if I were you, I think it's better, it's high time na sabihin mo na sa amin dito, huwag na tayo magpaikot-ikot.
Ayan prangkahan na, oh.
Kung sino yung mga nasa likod mo. Kasi nga po, sir, hindi ka naman po pipirma sa ibabaw ng pangalan ng Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas sa ibabaw ng kanyang pangalan kung wala pong may utos sa inyo, kung wala pong nasa likod nyo na malalakas ng mga tao. I think you're just trying to cover up something here. Get the monkey off your back. I think it's
Ayun
the
eh.
time that you have to confess. I mean, because you're a smart guy, right?
Get off the
Cornell
monkey
University,
off your
PhD,
back.
or you're just trying to outsmart us.
Patay ka dyan. Sagot!
You don't want to tell us kung sino po yung mga nag-utos sa'yo.
No, Your Honor. There was nobody who
Ayun eh.
pushed me or pressured me on this matter, Your Honor.
Wala daw.
Yung pang-upag sa sign.
Shout out,
sa
Mary
ibabaw
Grace
ng
de Castro.
apelyido ng Presidente, sa pangalan ng Presidente. Yun
Nakasagad
ba
na tayo sa
gawain
sounds,
ng
ma'am.
Isang scholar at may PhD sa Cornell University.
No, Your Honor, I signed for the Secretary of Agriculture based on the authority that was given to me on July 15, 2022.
Who
Your
gave you
Honor.
the authority, sir?
The authority was, the memo was issued by the Executive Secretary by authority of the President, Your Honor.
Okay, but did you ask the Executive Secretary about that memo to make sure that you can sign on his behalf sa ibabaw pa man din ng kanyang pangalan? Presidente pong pinag-usapan natin po, hindi po yung ordinaryong kawani ng gobyerno. So-
The memo, Your Honor, states that I can sit as ex officio chair of boards, committees, etc., of any government agency where the Secretary of Agriculture is a member, Your Honor. And the SRA board is one of those boards where the Secretary of Agriculture sits as ex officio, Your Honor. So since the Secretary is the member, and I am representing him more or less, I signed for the Secretary of Agriculture, who is the President of the Republic, Your Honor.
For the Secretary of Agriculture, right? That's what you're saying, but you signed above the name of President Bongbong Marcos.
Yes, with an initial 4, Your Honor.
That's why I'm going back to what I said earlier. Is that an act of a very smart person? Because hanga po ako sa inyo, yung credentials niyo po, napaka-impeccable. Okay, di po ba? Now, kung smart po kayo, Hindi niyo po gagawin yon. Ang magagawa lang noon, yung pipirma po sa ibabaw ng pangalan ng presidente ay people who are dumb or stupid. And you're not stupid, right? I don't think so. You don't look like stupid to me. You look like a very smart guy. Kaya lang, ayaw mo lang magsalita kasi nga, meron kang pinagtatapang mga grupo o tao. I think yun po observations ko.
Wala ho, Your Honor.
Nakikita ko po yung paa niyo pag ganun-ganun na po, ninervous ka. Sige na po.
Nininervyos na.
Dagdagan yung anxiety ninyo. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sana po, Mr. Chair. Sa
Ala na,
next,
hindi na pa hinahirapan lalo ni ni Idol Rapi.
kasi nga po, Mr. Chair, nakikita ko po, yung mga taga Bureau of Customs, they're very relentless in the fight against smuggling sa sugar and all.
Shout
Uh,
out!
and I
Aguilar
recommend
TV,
it.
andito ang ating kabsat mo. Aguilar
On the
TV
other
is in
hand,
the house.
Ang tanong, bakit nakalabas yung mga asukal na yon? Yung mga hoarding na tinatawag nila, nakalabas ng pier. Sana, hindi na nakalabas yung kinagawa lang sana ng customs, yung kanilang trabaho. Diba? And then from what I've heard, itong pinaka-latest, yung sugar sa Subic, ay meron palang permit yun. Mr. Chairman, Your Honor. So dito sumablay ang mga taga Bureau of Customs. Ano bang pangalan nitong chairman? Commissioner ng Customs. This guy, he opens his mouth before he would even look at the documents available. He could have asked people in his office mag-provide ng E2M documents from their system para masiguro niya na kung legit ba o hindi yung mga produktong i-rate nila. I think what he did, this guy from Bureau of Customs, para ma-divert yung attention natin. Meron kasi tayong serious attention. Ito na nga yung SO4. Ngayon, para ma-divert yung attention natin, rate sila left and right, bahala na ang Diyos. Para yung ating attention ay mapunta doon sa smuggling versus doon sa SO4 na sino nag-utos kay Yusek Sebastian pumirma. So I would appreciate it really, Mr. Chair, if we could invite a member of the Bureau of Customs, especially this guy, the commissioner, I forgot his name. I would really like to talk to him kasi mukhang mahilig itong magpadalos-dalos. And again, there's nothing wrong na mag-grade siya na mag-grade. Go ahead. Pero dapat pag nag-grade siya, tinatansya niya muna at alam niya kanyang ginagawa para wala naman maabala mga tao, walang napapahiya. Yun na po, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo.
Next.
You consume 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So, still within the threshold. As agreed upon, and with the indulgence of our other colleague here, Senator Robin Padilla, this committee will suspend for 10 minutes.
Fast forward, 10 minutes. Here we go. Matagal ng 10 minutes Okay lang. Pinapass forward ko na guys. 15 minutes na, hindi pa bumabalik Ito lang. Wait lang. May malampasan tayo Nako, haba Naku po. Mahaba nga yung break. Wait lang.
Thereafter,
Yun na. Here we go. All right.
Kindly run your head to say yes.
Ito na.
Mr. Chair.
thank you,
Nako.
Mr. Serapika.
Andyan natin si
To expedite
Serapika,
the
guys,
discussion while waiting for our other colleagues to arrive, and with the
Shout out,
permission
Ma'am
of my colleague
Carmelita.
here, Senator Estrada, perhaps we can ask the resource persons coming from the private sector relative to their knowledge, participation,
Mahaba yung break din nila.
concurrence,
Shout out sa mga
Remedial
bagong pasok, guys. Huwag kalimutan mag-like and
reactions.
subscribe.
as to the issuance of SO number 4. And I'm referring to the representative coming from Coca-Cola.
Fast forward ng konti.
Please proceed and answer my question.
Ito na.
Well, with regards po sa SO 304, so far ang knowledge po namin is nanggagaling din sa mga nababasa namin sa artikulo. And then alam mo namin talaga na may shortage ng asukal. So based dun po sa sa mga artikulo. Then yung industry po naman namin, we are affected daw ng
Can I cut you briefly? When you say shortage, is it a real shortage or an artificial shortage?
well, based lang po sa nababasa namin. So hindi ho namin alam kung totoo 'yun o hindi.
Pero kayo po ang presidente ng Philippine Food Processors and Exporters Organization. So sa inyo po bang organisasyon ay may nararamdaman kayong shortage o pagkukulang ng asukal?
Wala naman po.
So wala pong shortage.
Wala po. Ang problem lang po ng our industry is yung yung high cost of sugar.
High
Hindi po
cost,
kaya related
mamahalan.
yung cost ng sugar sa shortage. Dahil kulang ang nasa merkado ay hindi sapat ang mapunuan yung demand.
Well, yun po yung namin eh. Yun po yung nararanasan ng industry namin eh. So
mahal.
mahal po. Oo.
Mahal kasi
Kasi-
may shortage.
Yes, kasi
So ang tanong ko nga po, yung bang shortage gawa-gawa lang o totoong may shortage? Kasi nakita niyo po yung pinakitang video ni Senate President na dagat na raw po. Patas-patas, patong-patong ang nakaimbak na asukal sa mga warehouses.
well, based ho doon sa nakita namin, parang wala akong shortage. Pero based naman po doon sa sinabi ni Yusek Sebastian, dahil sa usage daw, so parang kukulangin pa. So hindi ho namin alam kung which one is Pero yun nga hong masasabi namin sa industry ho namin, usually kami hong mga exporter, kailangan ho namin ng mababang presyo ng asukal. Kasi po kung the cost of sugar is high, hindi po magiging competitive ang exporter. Sa ngayon po kasi, if you buy from Thailand or Asian countries, the price of sugar landed cost in the Philippines is only about 40 pesos.
Ay wow,
But
40
as of
pesos.
now,
70
the
sa atin
price
ngayon
is
ha, 70.
80 pesos to 100 pesos. The industry will not be competitive.
Matanong ko po sir, ano po yung ine-export natin na nangangailangan ng asukal na ang palagay niya ay napakamahal ngayon? Ano po yung uri ng mga ine-export natin? Ito po ba ay mga kakaning dilata? Ito po ba yung mga pagkain na pinoprocess natin na kailangan ng sugar preservatives? Ano po yun? Bigay kayo ng halimbawa.
Ang industry po namin, ang member po namin is composed of yung mga gumagawa ng biscuit, gumagawa ng snacks, gumagawa ng juice, gumagawa ng dry fruits, sweets, yung condiments po. Mostly yan po yung mga nangangailangan ng asukal.
So ito po yung halimbawa yung dried mango.
Yes,
Ito po yun.
opo.
Mga confectionery, opo. So naintindihan ko na po ngayon. So dalawang tanong na lang po. Kung nandito po kayo kanina while you were here, nabanggit po, it was mentioned over and over again by Mr. Former Undersecretary Sebastian that there were consultations made prior to the issuance of SO number 4. And there were attachments made to SO number 4. My question is this: was your group consulted? Was there an attachment or a board resolution coming from the Philippine Food Processors, coming from your group, supporting SO number 4?
Well, we are not consulted.
You were not consulted.
Yes, Your
And yet, you're a major stakeholder in any sugar consumption or importation. Ilang percent po yon itong sa Philippine Food Processors? Ang nagagamit yung asukal na
Well, as of now, yung mga member po namin, we can use 6 sacks to 450 sacks per week ng
nationwide.
sugar po. Yeah, nationwide po.
Maraming
Yung
salamat.
member po.
Unless Senator Estrada has a follow-up question, this just goes to show that, one, there was no prior consultation made, contrary to the assertion of Yusek Sebastian that such was made prior to the issuance of sugar order number 4. ang
Shout out, Ross
I will ask
Kim.
the second question because
Mood
it was
cover, shout out.
answered with the permission of Senator Estrada, Senator Padilla, and Senator De La Rosa, who returned like a good general who promised I shall return. I now ask the representative from Coca-Cola. News reports indicate that your group were one of those present and whose clamor was given an affirmative response by the president himself. Is this true? And how would you answer if I ask the same question I propounded to Mr. C? Is there a shortage? Is there an artificial shortage? Is there a natural shortage? And is SO number 4 rightfully issued or improper because there is hoarding? Okay, would you like to answer in Tagalog or in English? Bahala na po kayo.
Salamat po. Good afternoon po, Your Honors. Attorney Juan Lorenzo Tanyada po, appearing for the
Wow,
behalf of our
Tanyada!
CEO, Bagyaon, who's not present today because
Sounds
of personal,
familiar, mga kabsat.
in consultation with our principals in Singapore. Your Honors, I would answer first of all that yes, we feel the scarcity of sugar in our operations. Yes, we were present po at that meeting called for the purpose, and we attended it at the Department of Agriculture, I believe on August 2, 2022. Your Honor, if I may, our CEO actually executed an affidavit. If I would be allowed po, I may be able to read it into the record.
That will be hearsay if you extract from the portions of the affidavit. Mr. Secretary, do we have a copy of that affidavit from, is this from Mr. Garrett Guion?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Wala pa kami, we don't have a copy here. So I hope you can be, it's in the tick folder. You can have the gist. You can have the gist. Will the gist answer my questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
So there's a shortage, scarcity.
Yes, Your Honor,
Nakikipag-chat
if we
si
refer po
Robin.
particularly to
Kaya nga
the
kitang-kita sa video, no?
affidavit.
Go ahead. Hanapin ko.
Fast forward tayo ng konti.
Premium refined sugar as well as a dramatic surge in prices.
Wait lang. Kailangan nyo meron tanong eh.
There is an enough buffer of sugar in warehouses apparently not being distributed. We welcome the arrival of the good Senate President. You are just being refuted by the representative coming from Coca-Cola. We will give the Senate President a chance to rebut you, attorney. So you are refuting the statements of the Senate President. There is no sugar shortage, scarcity, and the issuance of SO number 4 is in order. Am I correct?
If I may po, sir.
Hindi,
Your Honor.
sagutin mo muna ako. Tama ba ako?
We will need to qualify po, Your Honor, because we don't have
Baka natakot
access
ka
to
lang
sugar.
dumating si Senate President.
Gusto lang po namin magsabi po ng complete po yung ano namin, yung context po, Your Honor.
And that context, I will allow Mr. Sebastian to butt in if you may, if you can. It has something to do with the reclassification. So there are sugar imports coming in, later on would be reclassified. Are you
Kasi local.
affected by that?
Tama. Binili ng
Kung meron
binili sa
pong,
Thailand
dumating
tapos
na asukal po
i-repack.
na magagamit po namin
Manufactured
kasi
na
halimbawa po
Philippines
butler
na.
grade din po siya, then makakabuti po yan, makaka-operate po kami ng nasa normal pace po, Your Honor.
You're in a good place now.
I will, yes, I was about to say that I will give my floor to the good Senate President.
Thank you very much, distinguished colleague.
Here we
Tabayin
go.
natin to kasi di yata tayo makikita. Masyado mababa itong Juan. Nasa firing line kami dito ni Senator Bato. But thank you very much, my dear chairperson, and to my dear colleagues, and of course to the guests that are here today. On Coca-Cola, you were here earlier when I spoke. Is that correct, Your Honor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. You saw the almost over 100,000 metric tons that were in the bodegas that we showed you earlier under SO3. SO number 3.
I
Is that
saw the
correct?
pictures po, Your
Yes.
Honor.
That is Butler's grade refined sugar. That is correct? Most of them.
I couldn't tell po, Your Honor.
As what we were told, it were Butler's grade refined sugar. So, is there quandary in your position declaring that there is no the supply of sugar as compared to what we showed you as there is a supply of sugar? Is there somebody telling you na wala pero meron pala? Could that be a possibility?
It could be possible, Your Honor, assuming po that sugar is there and it's offered to us. It hasn't happened po.
That's exactly our point. So, as a producer of, I guess you're the biggest consumer of sugar, refined sugar in the country.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're in a quandary because you have no place to get this sugar. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. We have tried our best and we are still trying our best and we still don't have access to butter grade sugar in that amount, Your Honor.
But obviously, sugar order number 3 was supposed to correct that. That is supposed to be going to industrial users. Is that correct? Have you been given from sugar order number 3?
Mr. Senate President, actually we got 10,000 metric tons.
That's all? Out of the
Yes.
200,000 metric tons? Only 10,000 metric tons?
Yes, Your Honor.
No wonder you're complaining, Your Honor, Mr. Chairperson. But obviously, the sugar is going somewhere else. So what you're trying to say is, as a standpoint of an industrial user, wala kayong mahanap na asukal. Pero nagulat din po kayo na marami palang asukal. Would that be safe to say?
Your Honor, if it were there, we'd be very happy po talaga. Especially if it's at the proper price, we would be very much willing to buy it, Your Honor.
For my questioning now, if I may, Mr. Chairperson, unless I will defer to my
Proceed.
dear-
With the permission of the Senate President, next to
Yes.
question will be Senator Estrada. Thereafter, Senator Padilla has been patiently waiting for the last 7
Ayan na,
hours.
Senator Padilla.
I'm willing to.
And then Senator De La Rosa and then Senator Bongo.
Yeah, yung akin lang kasi po, meron po akong train of questioning that would establish the legality or illegality of sugar order number 4. I'm going now to the SRA administrator. Earlier, Mr. Administrator, maybe administer the oath of office. I mean the oath.
Mr. Secretary, na-administer natin. Have we,
Yes, Your Honor.
yes,
Mr.
yes,
Serafica, yes, Your Honor.
you can answer, Mr. Serafica. If asked, we will recognize you since you're now familiar with your situation. You're under oath. And of the 6 senators present here, 8 senators would like to question you, including those virtually present.
Yon.
Mr. Senate President, you can proceed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mr. Senate President.
Mayang hapon,
Wala pang
sir.
question, sir.
May
Yeah.
hapon.
Mayang hapon, sir. Sir, let's just go on the legality first of before we discuss.
Sige, sabunin nyo na, kaya nyo na yan.
Let us establish first.
Shout out, Ma'am Ram.
Who drafted sugar order number 4, Your Honor? Was it
Sorry.
your office, Your Honor, or was it Yusek Sebastian? Who drafted sugar order number 4?
I drafted sugar order number 4.
You
Mr. Chair.
personally drafted sugar order number 4.
Me and my staff. Mr.
Your technical assistants.
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
As I mentioned earlier, and I found out, and you can answer us either yes or no, did you consult with the management of SRA, particularly your deputy administrators on regulation, administration, et cetera, on SO number 4?
On SO number 4, Mr. Chair, I did not consult them. In the past,
Yes, but isn't that
any board member, Mr. Chair, can craft a sugar order. There is no rule that only the regulations department can endorse a sugar order.
No.
In the past,
in the past, in sugar order number 3, you had routed this to the department, your deputy administrators. Is that correct?
that's correct.
And the process is that the deputy administrators, after routing, will recommend it to the Sugar Regulatory Board.
That's correct.
That's correct. In this case, you did not do that. You drafted it yourself, and you had the members of the board sign without the knowledge of the deputy administrators because they already are under oath and they gave a testimony earlier.
That's correct.
That's correct. Don't you think this is highly out of order?
May I explain, Your Honor? In this case, since it was a directive to craft an importation plan, we did not want to let anybody know until such time it will reach
No,
the
but,
office of the
but why,
president.
why did you not want anybody to know? Because, this is a very important matter. You do not import, Your Honor, with due respect, such a large amount of sugar without consulting the industries involved together with the stakeholders.
Now,
You just said it now. You do not want anyone to know. What is the secrecy of such a transaction, Your Honor, and we'd like to put this on record that it has not been done. The practice is that you consult your colleagues in the Sugar Regulatory Administration. Okay. Now it is
Mr.
settled.
Chair,
Yes, please, go ahead.
if I may just be allowed quickly to present for just 4 slides, Mr. Chair, just so I can present to you the facts behind the issue on SO4, where it is coming from. If you would allow me, it would be of great help for this.
It will be dependent on the chairman. on this.
How many minutes would you present the slides? Is this part of your sworn statement, or are these new slides not part of our folder?
It's part, Mr. Chair. I think this is very important for everyone to appreciate the facts of.
Can you do that in 3 minutes?
Well, I'll try my best quickly, Mr. Chair.
Yes, because apparently you can work fast, as shown by SO number 4. The chair grants the request of the resource person to present some slides. Do we have your USB with us? Thank you. You may proceed, Administrator Serafica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed, sir.
This projected raw sugar supply and demand. This is the data SRA was holding at the crafting of SO4. This was presented to the stakeholders consultation on July 29, 2022, and submitted to the board for the August 8, 2022 referendum for SO4. Figures as of July 17, 2022 are the projections from the Regulations Department. Estimated production is based on the crop estimate from the RDE Department of SRA at 1.8 million metric tons. Estimated demand is based on actual data from September 2021 to June 2022 and previous crop year data for July and August 2022. The estimated ending balance by August 31 is negative 35,231 metric tons. A comfortable ending stock balance to carry over until production of next crop year picks up at 200,000 metric tons to 250,000 metric tons. Next slide, please. Projected refined sugar supply and demand. This is also the data presented to the stakeholders consultation on July 29, 2022, and submitted to the board for the August 8, 2022 referendum. Estimated production is based on PASRI estimate of 15,431,000 bags. Estimated demand is based on actual data for September 2021 to June 2022 and previous years data for July and August 2022. The estimated ending balance towards August 31 on domestic refined sugar is negative 20,748. But on the imported, the SO3 of 2021 and SO3 of 2022 totals 150,000 metric tons, totaling 129,251.35 metric tons. Next slide, please. The raw sugar production and demand for the last 3 crop years. Please take note that the vertical bars represent production. The horizontal lines represent the demand. September production is not sufficient for the demand and barely enough in October. Historically, we need a buffer stock of at least 200,000 metric tons to 250,000 metric tons to carry us through the lean months at the start of the next crop year. To tide us over in September, we need around 170,000 metric tons based on average monthly demand for the last 3 crop years. Next slide, please. Refined sugar production and demand. This also tells us the 3 crop years on the historical data. Production, the vertical bars refers to the production. The horizontal lines refers to the demand. Production for September to November is not enough for our demand. Thus, we need carryover ending balance of at least 3 months or around 255,000 metric tons with a monthly average of 85,000 metric tons for the last 3 crop years. Sugar requirement until production becomes sufficient. Raw sugar requirement for, next slide, please. Sorry. Next slide, please.
Can you wrap it up, Mr. Administrator?
Sugar requirement
3
until
minutes is almost up.
sugar requirement until production becomes sufficient. Raw sugar requirement for 1 month, month of September, is 170,000 metric tons. Refined sugar requirement for 3 months, September to November, is 255,000 metric tons, minus the balance of 129,000 gives us 125,749, plus the 170,000 that gives us 295,749. Hence, we need to import 300,000 metric tons to supply the demand for September to November. Next slide,
so
please.
you rounded up, Mr. Administrator.
Yeah,
Next
may-
slide, please.
Senate
This is
Yes.
important, Mr. Chair. This is very important. Written recommendations of sugarcane industry stakeholders. CONFED, not more than 300,000 metric tons, 150,000 metric tons of raw sugar, and 150 tons of refined sugar. NFSP, 300,000 metric tons, 50% for domestic market, 50% for industrial users. Panay-Fed, 300,000 metric tons, 50% for industrial users, 50% for non-industrial users. Luzon-Fed and Unifed sent a joint resolution, 300,000 metric tons refined only. Only the following traders: All Asian Countertrade Inc., Amirop Philippines Inc., Sukden Philippines Inc., Edison Lee Marketing Corporation, Oro Aliado Commodities Inc., San Fernando Area Commercial, and Skylar Company. PSMA, 300,000 metric tons, 150,000 metric tons of raw, and 150 tons of refined. PASRI, 200,000 metric tons, whether raw or refined, decisions should be left to the better judgment of parties that will be authorized to import.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. We
Thank
read
you,
that.
Mr. Chair.
The,
Yes, may I
let
continue my
that,
questions?
let that remain flash on the screen. Let
Yes.
that remain flash on the screen. The Senate President would add something.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I ask him, when was this report made? What exact date was this report made? These slides you're showing us.
This was a consultation.
No, these slides, all this that was made, was it done a few days ago?
No, Mr. Chair.
When was it made? I'm asking the question. Answer the question. Because the stakeholders that you mentioned there, except for CONFED, Your Honor, has disputed this. And they went to see the president. And they disputed it. So now my question is, when was this done? Because the position of the SRA 2 weeks ago, when this all blew up in your face, SO number 4, was there was no sugar available. Walang zero sugar. And yet, I will show you, I will point you the slides. Can everybody show the slides of the apprehension of the BOC? Maybe just remind the good SR administrator, maybe replay the pictures of the toneladang punong mga bodega ng asukal. That is my question, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. I do not know if he's trying to cover his tracks by justifying sugar order number 4, but clearly we have hundreds of thousands of metric tons in bodegas not being utilized. Here, I'm showing it now on screen, Your Honor, Mr. Administrator, for you to see. That's not, hindi bola yan. That is all sugar. Punong-puno ang bodega. You can't even walk anymore. Of sugar. Coca-Cola, look at that. That is sugar that's supposed to go to you. What were they doing in these container vans? Wasn't that the job of the SRA? To release that sugar for the consumption of the industrial users, and if there's a lack of household consumers, can be reclassified under the instruction of the board. So, obviously, you did not put this in consideration, because your initial response, Your Honors, of the SRA, there was no sugar. Until I came out with this internal memo from the SRA that there is exactly, to be exact, 126,000 metric tons as of August 12. There was 126,000 metric tons. And we were looking for it. The answer of the SRA at the time of the leadership is, wala, hindi namin alam yan, kung saan yan. The executive secretary, inutos niya yung BOC na yun, inutos niya yung ISAP, inutos niya yung PNP. Hanapin ito. Ayan na po. Nahanap na po. Ano po yan? Is that hoarding? Sinong may kasalanan yan? Bakit hindi nyo pinalabas yan? It's just as simple as that. Because the president is being embarrassed because of the high prices of sugar. The SRA says, there is no sugar. We cannot find any sugar. Here are the bodegas full of sugar. Coca-Cola, these poor guys are no longer selling Coke because they cannot find sugar. There's the sugar right there. Why is it being hoarded? Why is it not being released to the public? Why is it being kept under lock and key? That is my point. And that is only sugar order number 3. What protection do we have with sugar order number 4? You bring in 300,000 metric tons, ganun din ang mangyayari doon. Hindi nyo ilalabas. Tataas ang presyo, benta sa publiko. At ang kawawa ang consumer. And of course, since it will flood the market, ang kawawa dyan ang ating mga magsasaka. So, let us go back to SO number 4. My question, Your Honors, and I already established, Your Honor, that hindi siya nakipag-konsulta sa kanyang deputy administrators. He admitted on record today that he kept it a secret so that they can speed up the release of the document. Now, is it true that under SO number 4, you have the sole authority to reclassify from B to C? You, because in previous SOs, sugar orders, it was the board. Under SO number 4, to just let the gentleman know.
Galit na Tisubira, mga kabsat.
Pagpasok
Ayan na yung mga
ng
na-hoard,
Your Honors, please listen to this very important note. It comes in as C sugar that is reserved. Hindi po magalaw yan. The board now will decide to make it B, which is domestic, para mailabas yan. The power is vested on the board, okay? Including the secretary or whatever, the acting secretary, the president. But now, under this very document, it was designated to the administrator himself, Your Honor. Now, is that a correct assumption that under SO number 4, you have the sole power and authority to reclassify the sugar?
If the
Yan.
board would authorize me,
Reclassify talaga.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, it is written in
Yes.
the SO4. It is clearly written. Let's not mess up the documents. Under number 8.1, Your Honor, for the immediate availability of the
Kabadong-kabado na, guys.
board delegates the administrator the authority to reclassify imported sea sugar to B. But you know, Your Honors, they're already given a delegated authority. They cannot delegate that authority to you. It's a delegated authority to them. So, this is not present in SO number 3.
In this case, Mr. Chair, this would expedite the availability of sugar for the local market.
Yes. But isn't that a very powerful position to take?
You are not the board.
Oh, one person
You are
alone?
just the mere executor of the board's decision. You arrogated upon yourself the powers of the board.
that would have been up to the board if they would have commented on that particular provision on the draft SO, Mr. Chair.
Ito na nga Your Honor, signed by everybody.
So meaning they did not object to the idea of the draft sugar order, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, but then the
There is
board
a-
has to clarify this because it's a very important and powerful position to be able to be a sole authority in reclassifying sugar. There's a price difference in all of this, and it's a very powerful position because then all the traders will go to you and pa-reclassify sila kung anong gusto nilang ipa-reclassify. Isang tao lamang, hindi na po yung board yung magdidesisyon nito. Okay, I just want to put that on record. Let us not argue. I want to put on record that in the previous sugar orders, wala ito. Itong sugar order number 4 na unang-una, sikretong pagkagawa, pangalawa, isa lamang ang magbibigay po ng binigay kapangyarihan para mag-reclassify ng asukal from reserve to domestic use.
Ayun, no?
Very important function and of the board was actually given to him, now delegated to him. The other question, Your Honors. Oh, sige.
Sa mga bagong pasok dyan, huwag kalimutan mag-like and subscribe.
Just on your very, very important point, because I'm still really baffled why
Nako, si Boy 10K, guys. Yan na.
na hindi namang klaro na pumapayag. So sabi niyo po, sir, pumayag naman yung board na i-delegate sa iyo. So ang tanong ko, simple lang po. Kung
Okay.
iikot mo naman yung resolution at may pirma
Sige.
sa ibabaw ng pangalan ng Pangulo na nakapirma, sinong board ang hihindi?
Yun nga, Your Honor.
So dahil akala mo pwede kang pumirma, akala nung board gusto ng presidente na i-delegate sa iyo. Tama po ba?
Is that a question for me, Mr. Chair?
Doon po sa pumirma, sir, ikaw ba yung pumirma for the president?
I am not, Mr. Chair.
Kayo po. Yeah, kayo po.
Yes. I signed, Your Honor, but I was the last to sign.
You are the last to sign.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, but you made it appear na yun po ang gusto ng Pangulo.
Yes, Your Honor, based on the authority that was given to me last July 15, 2020, and in good faith, Your Honor, and as,
I'll just clarify this, Mr. SP, dahil nakadugtong talaga sa... Who gave you the authority to sign for the president?
there was a memo issued on July 15, 2022, Your Honor, delegating the authority for me to sit ex officio in the SRA board, Your Honor.
Yes. So, dapat po, you were signing as ex officio, not signing for the president. Magkaiba po yun.
Not for the President, Your Honor, for the Secretary of Agriculture.
Yes,
and
but
Chair.
then, ang nakalagay po dito, His Excellency, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., SRA Board Chairperson, DA Secretary.
Yes, Your Honor.
You signed on top and then you assigned for.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that doesn't give the impression that you can sign anything for him or your ex officio. That gives the impression na in this case, pinayagan ka ng Pangulo. So you're saying that that authority gave you a carte blanche na kahit ano sa SRA pwede mo ipirma ang pangalan ng Pangulo?
No, Your Honor. I reported actually the approval, Your Honor, the following day, and it was disapproved by the President. Your
Yes,
Honor.
you sign first, then get approval later on. But you're saying because you had authority to sign. So either you had authority to sign or you did not have authority to sign. And if you had authority to sign as ex officio, you should have signed as ex officio. I'll give you an example. If I'm not a member of this committee and the Senate President made me ex officio member, I will sign as Alang Cayetano, ex officio member. I could indicate that I was appointed by Senate President Zubiri, but I cannot sign Senate President Zubiri for, and then ako yon. Di ba? So I'll leave it there, Mr. President, but balikan po natin yan kasi nga, ang inaalala ko, napakasamang presidente sa buong gobyerno. So, yung kayang order ngayon na walang pasok ngayon, si Pangulo talaga yon or someone, again, akala niya can sign for the president?
Maling
This is
akala
the
nga, di
problem
ba?
that this brings. I don't know you, Yusek, and I have nothing against you, but for me, sugar is such a big issue, farmers, pero napakalaking issue din po yung pwedeng pumirma for the president. Pag pumirma ka for the president, ibig sabihin ang Pangulo mismo nagsabi sa iyo na pwede kang pumirma sa pangalan niya. If it's a delegated authority, you should have signed your name and then said that you are allowed to sign. So I'll leave it there. And of course, if you want to respond to that.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I just have
Proceed.
one quick question and one point that I just want to share with everyone. So
Ayaw
first
talaga
question
magsalita,
to the
guys, eh.
auditor is, in sugar order number 3, there was a performance bond given to the importers. In sugar order number 4, there was none. Tinanggal nyo ang performance bond, which is supposed to be one of the mechanisms that will protect from unscrupulous importation. Kasi, correct me if I'm wrong, if they import, I think the performance bond was 500 pesos per bag. Pag nag-import yan para sa industrial user, hindi dumating sa industrial user, di tanggal yung, na-confiscate yung bond na yon. In this case, sugar order number 4 has no performance bond. Why is that so, Administrator?
To lessen additional cost for the consumers because retail prices are already very high, Mr.
No,
Chair.
but the performance bond, Your Honor, is returned, di ba? It is returned to the importer. It's a bond. Once it's imported, distributed, for example, Coca-Cola, 100,000 is supposed to, let's say, just to give an example, 100,000 metric tons going to go to Coca-Cola. The importer of that 100,000 metric tons will pay the performance bond to SRA. Once it delivers to Coca-Cola, you return the performance bond. So what cost is that to the consumer? But that is a protection on your part that they will not pole vault the sugar, which is what's happening now. They're pole vaulting the sugar.
Under existing rules, Mr. Chair, on the monitoring and inspection of SRA, it's not only the performance bond that the regulations department is looking at, even the movements and everything on these issues,
Yes,
Mr.
but
Chair.
Your Honor, I just showed you. You didn't even know. All the pictures that I showed you. Maybe ask
Can
to
you
mute.
unmute?
Can we mute first all the other
Somebody's,
players?
trying to
Yes.
butt in.
It is so clear as day that even the SRA head does not know about all the sugar that's being stocked up there. So, would it have been better that we would err on the side of caution in terms of government a bond or a government protection whatsoever, so that way may makuha naman tayo, may punishment sila pag hindi nila
Kaya
na-deliver
nga.
the desired
San Fernando.
demand or
Eric, kamusta?
desired recipients.
19 million.
Your Honor.
In this case, Mr. Chair, the intent was to lessen the additional cost for the consumers because retail prices are already very high. If you will recall, Mr. Chair, the SO4, 300,000, 150,000 of that will go to the industrials. The 150,000 will go to the industrial traders so they can sell it to the
Yeah, but
consumers
my
and to
point,
the
Your Honor,
household.
Mr. Chairman, he just has to answer the question. My point is, there is a standard bond given to importers of sugar under the previous SO sugar order. Ngayon po tinanggalan yan. That means those who are maybe not so large importers, maybe smaller importers na walang kapital na ipagbigay ng bond, pwede silang makipasok. Unlike the bigger importers that have a track record that already delivered to Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, RC-Cola, and all of them are just one of the players of many. That can happen because there's no longer a performance bond. Diba? Oh, isn't that disadvantageous to the government? That's supposed to be I'm just laying out all the I guess the anomalies that we see in sugar order number 4. Now, it is on record. I just want to put on record again the haste. Allergic kami dito sa mga mabibilis na transactions. PSDBM, under the last Congress, found out that there were documents that were given same day, 2 days after, approved by the BAC immediately. and these are on record under this committee. We would like to show you that on August 4, they had a meeting in Malacanang to come up with an import plan. Import plan lang ito. Tama po? Hindi nila sinabi, mag-import kayo. Ang sabi nila, come up
Plano.
with a plan. Just correct me, yes or no? It's an import plan. Unless you tell me otherwise, that they told you to import this much. Was it just an import plan?
Yes, to submit as soon as possible an import plan.
Okay. August 4. August 5, nag-email ka na ng draft SO4, import program kay Yusek Sebastian.
Ang bilis,
One day after that.
Huli
Is
ka.
that correct? Because these are records.
That's correct.
That's correct. So one day, import plan pa lang yan. Don't you think the
Isang
import
araw,
plan should detail meeting with stakeholders, all the farmers groups, and end users? But I just want to put on record how quick this was done. August 4, import plan. Hindi naman sinasabi
Ang bilis,
na
no? Parang
mag-import
quickie
kayo,
lang.
Magplano lang kung gaano karami. August 4, meron ka ng planong importation order na binigay kay Secretary Sebastian. August 6 and 7 was a weekend. August 8, pina-approve mo through a referendum with the members of the board. Is that correct? August 8.
I asked guidance from Undersecretary Sebastian on August 8 in the morning on how to move forward, seeing the urgency on the matter.
Okay. August 9, Your Honors, I just want to put this on record. Tapos na ang board resolution for SO4. 4 na araw. 4 na araw for such an important document for importation. Don't you think that is highly irregular? It is not common. How long did it take for SO3 to come out?
It was quick, Mr. Chair.
As quick as this?
It-
Now,
it was even quicker than this because of the urgency.
SO3?
Yes.
Yes, and that's why you had 2 RTC cases. Because the stakeholders did not know anything about it. And the regional trial courts, and yet you continued with your importation.
Mr. Chair, if I may, there was also consultation. If I remember way back January 20, 2022.
Yes,
We
well,
do not do all these things, Mr. Chair, without consultation.
But again,
Because-
Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, I would like to put the groups that went to see the president had said that they were not consulted on this SO number 4. How can you have done the consultation? August 4 kayo nag-meeting. August 5, draft nyo na. Oh, how did you consult within that day? Your
They-
Honor.
They submitted documents, written documents, Your Honor.
Well,
And these are
they are
all,
here, Mr. President. Mr.
The
Chairman,
faster,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
better daw.
The stakeholders are there who are willing to be on record to either refute or confirm the gentleman's statement. My point, and that's it. My last point is SO4 for me is highly irregular. As already mentioned by Malacanang, it is illegal. Unfortunately, there is malfeasance, misfeasance, usurpation of authority. I think it is in the realm within the realm of this committee to make the necessary, of course, determination of this. And again, moving forward, I hope and pray that the SRA will do it differently next time. That with due respect to you, Administrator, looking and finishing my statement, I saw the list there, I saw the numbers, you're saying up to November, we need to come up with an importation for November. I beg to disagree because Negros is already harvesting now. You are from Leyte. You're from Leyte. I'm from Negros and Bukidnon. I know for a fact Victorias is already harvesting, La Carlota and several other sugar mills have already started. They're claiming that by end of September, October, there is already sugar in the bodegas to be distributed all over. They're refuting your claim that there will be no sugar until November. So, Your Honors, that is very important that there should be a mechanism that the stakeholders are involved when it comes to importation. Yan po ang pangako namin, pangako ko po yan. This was my promise in the campaign. Alam po ni Senator Estrada yan. We were together on stage together with Senator Padilla. And in Uniteam, uunahin namin, protektahan ang ating sariling mga magsasaka. Ubusin natin ang kanilang produkto bago tayo mag-import sa labas. Yun po, Mr. Chairman. And
Sayang naman, yung sayang naman.
swiftly on this issue. Maraming
Alam na
salamat.
this mga kabsat. Grabe, no?
You that we will act swiftly with the permission
Fast
of the
forward ng konti.
CONFED
in 1 year. Before the start of
Sino to?
milling, middle of milling, and after milling. Then you can make an exact data how much is required by the country and the consumption to import or not to import. Ito siya po, never has he made a survey. So how can he say and justify that there is a shortage? When you go po to the palengkes, there is sugar. Yun lang, sobrang mahal. And we do not agree with that price neither because all our sugars po is being bought by the traders from us at Millgate at 40 pesos po per kilo. And we do not agree to be that the sugar is being sold in the palengkes at 100. Sobra-sobra na yan po.
Thank you, Mr. Lamata. Mr. Serafica, before you drafted this SO number 4, you never inspected
Nako,
any,
magkakasagwat
warehouses,
talaga to mga to, guys.
surveyed any warehouses of sugar?
that is a regular activity of the regulations department to monitor movements of sugar, Mr. Chair. And I would like to request the committee to answer on the survey being undertaken by the SRA. Deputy Administrator Tihida is here to make this clear to the community, to the committee, because there are internal procedure of SRA, Mr. Chair.
Well, wait, okay. According to the Senate President, you did this in haste, okay? Why can't you wait for the approval of the President who is
Paikot-ikot lang na, guys, no?
of the Department
Atat,
of
atat na atat.
Your Honor, it was not done in haste. It was submitted to the board for referendum, and I voted first.
So you are refuting the statements made by the Senate President?
I am stating facts, Your Honor. That was what happened. After me, former...
Ay, really? Magkakapatid talaga? Seryoso yan? Giovanni?
The following day, former board member
Nako
Valderrama
po.
casted his vote as well.
May I just
Magkakakabsat pala yung mga yan?
quick manifestation. I had the chance to speak with former board member Beltran, and he was told me, because he's from Bukidnon, and he told me, Sen Migs, I was made to believe that the president insisted on this importation. Same as the Sugar Federations. Somebody's
Well,
mouthing
kaya-
out saying that it is the president who wants this. But
That
it's
was the
not true.
reason they signed they signed this, ano? Am I correct? Because they were made to believe that it was the instruction by the president himself. But anyway, we have received information that you have already sold or allotted to some
Now I know. Salamat,
before
salamat,
the
Ma'am
issuance of
Carmelita.
SO number 4. How true is this?
That's not true, Your Honor.
Are you sure?
That's not true.
How long have
I
you
will
been,
swear to that.
how long have you been working with the SRA?
I was appointed by former President Duterte as board member way
When?
back 2016. And when the administratorship's office was vacated by the former administrator, I was appointed on September 2017 as administrator by former President Duterte.
Shout out, Ma'am Leia Takahashi.
My last question. Is your authority given by the board to convert Class C sugar to Class B sugar been approved by the President as the DA Secretary?
Sorry, again, your question, Mr. Chair.
Is your authority given by the board to convert Class C sugar to Class B sugar
Ayun, no,
has been
pinataas.
approved by the President or as the current Secretary of the Department of Agriculture?
It was approved through the referendum, Your Honor.
But by the President or by the Secretary of the DA?
It was signed by the three of us.
I am asking you, the President, did he give you authority?
Yes or
The
no?
President does not give me authority, Your Honor.
Has it been approved by the president?
It is the majority of the members of the board that cast their vote.
As the DA secretary, has it been approved by the president?
Is that question directed to me, Mr. Chair? Or
Directed to
you?
you, ang tanong ni Senator Estrada, the President being the concurrent DA Secretary.
And the Secretary Sebastian signed for that approval, Mr. Chair.
Ang tinatanong ko po kung ang presidente bilang kalihim ng agriculture, kung inaprubahan ba niya yung pag-convert ng Class C sugar to Class B
Pinataas
sugar.
siya ng Class B.
Napirmahan po ni Yusek Sebastian. So I would assume
Uy, kabado na talaga, guys. Wala na. Hindi masagot.
Si Senator Estrada ganito, yung pagbibigay sa inyo ng kapangyarihan
Ayan o, ayan na.
to act as the SRA board itself, you solely would be violative of Republic Act 10659, the SIDA law of 2015, and glaringly Section 4 of Executive Order number 18, referring to the corporate powers of the board. Because you cannot function as the entire board. You are just the administrator of the SRA. Yun siguro yung tinatanong ni Senator Estrada. Has this been
Approved.
validated through an action coming from the current DA Secretary? So wala. Wala po yun. Kahit anong pa ligoy-ligoy natin, wala po yun. Senator Estrada, I think
Yes, I have only promised around 2 to
Yes.
3 questions. I yield the floor to
Senator
Senator
Padilla.
Padilla. But I
Nako, yan na. Si Padilla na, guys.
questions in the next hearing.
Senator Padilla, you have the floor. You've been waiting patiently for 7 hours.
Maraming salamat po, Chairman. Gusto ko lamang pong batiin yung ating mga bisita. Ako po'y hanga sa pag-resign ninyo sapagkat bihira po yan sa gobyerno natin kapag may ganitong usapin. Ayaw mag-resign. Nakakapit ko. Pero kayo po ay nag-resign. Ngayon, ang hindi ko lamang po maintindihan kasi kanina pa po ako, sabi nga po ng ating chairman, kanina pa po ako nakikinig, parang tuwing may babato, nakasangga po kayo eh. Talagang matindi ang pagsangga. Para po sa akin, sa binabasa ko po rito, sapat na yung sinabi ng ating press secretary na sinabi po niya na basahin ko po. The chairman of the Sugar Regulatory Board is President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. As such chairman, he sets the date of any meetings and convening of the Sugar Regulatory Board and its agenda. No such meeting was authorized by the President, nor such a resolution likewise was not authorized. Ngayon, dito naman po sa sumunod, sinabi po dito na tinatanggap po ni Sir Sebastian ang responsibility.
Yan o.
Ang una ko pong tanong, nararamdaman niyo naman po
Magpapakabayani.
siguro yung bigat ngayon ng sitwasyon.
Aakuhin niyo
Hindi po
lahat.
ba nababago yung inyong sinabi? Yun po ba pangahawakan pa rin po namin na kayo po ang tumatanggap ng responsibilidad na ito kung ano man, kung saan man po mapunta ito, kung dalhin man po ito sa kaso at ito po ay makarating sa judiciary, tinatanggap niyo po.
Mr. Chair, I resigned for delicadeza and to spare the President from these issues that may arise. Honor. So I offered to sign.
Ako po, bilib po ako doon. Saludo po ako doon. Yung pong tanong ko po, handa po kayo lahat ng
Ako.
dito. Kasi nakita niyo naman po.
Ayaw nila magsalita kung sinong nasa likod eh.
Yung Pangulo ay talagang pinaglalaban ng ating, alam niyo po kasi, usapin po ito ng magsasaka. Bago po ito napunta sa importasyon, gusto ko din pong liwanagin sa ating mga kababayan, ang inyo pong opisina ay hindi lamang po patungkol sa importasyon. Kayo din po ay nasa eksportasyon. Hindi lang natin magawa yan. Sapagkat hindi ko po din malaman kung bakit. Ito pong importasyon nito, hindi po ito yung mandato lang lamang ninyo. Kailangan po ito maintindihan din ng mga kababayan natin, no po. Ang gusto ko po
Mga bata ni Tatay Diggs yung mga tinatanong mo, idol, sabi ni Giovanni. Oh.
Ginoong Sebastian, na kayo po ang haharap sa korte, kayo po ang magbubuhat nito.
Your Honor, I am accountable and responsible for my actions.
Yun eh.
Your Honor.
Opo yan, tatanggapin ko po yan na opo. Opo, maraming salamat po. Pwede pa po bang isa pang tanong? Pwede pa po ba? Tapos na po ba yung 5 minuto ko? Okay.
Senator Padilla, since you waited for 7 hours, we are now giving you 7 minutes.
Ayun, maraming salamat po. Yung sundan ko lang po yung sinabi ng ating ginoong Pangulo. Ayon po sa datos na nabanggit ni Senate President sa kanyang privilege speech, ang mga magsasaka po at manggagawa sa sugar industry ang isa sa pinakamahirap sa lipunan. Sila ay kumikita lamang ng 30,000 kada buwan.
Wow.
2,500. At kada taon po yun, ha? Yung 30,000.
Ay, yun lang.
500 kada buwan o 82 pesos kada araw.
Aray
Tama
ko.
po ba? Nakasama po sa mandato po ninyo ang pangangalaga sa mga magsasaka sa usapin ng sugar, sa asukal?
That for me, Your Honor, or for SRA?
Para po sa inyo po yan. Sa inyo po lahat. Ang pagkakaalam ko po, ang
Isang
SRA
lahi lang.
po ay kasama po ninyo ang
Tama.
paglinang ng sugar industry sa bansa. Katunayan, dito po sa inyong GAA, nakalagay po dito, may budget po ang SRA na 712 million para sa mga sumusunod. Construction of farm-to-mill roads, Black Farm Program, Socialized Credit,
Yung?
Scholarship. Ito po ba naisasagawa po ng inyong opisina? Kasi natandaan po ninyo, ang linaw po ng sinabi ng Ginoong Pangulo, ang pinoproteksyonan po niya dito, una sa lahat, yung ating magsasaka. Gusto ko lamang pong malaman kung saan po napunta itong 712 million. 300, ito po, hati-hatiin ko. Sa construction po ng farm to mill, 356 million. Black Farm Program, 213 million. Socialized Credit, 106 million. Scholarship, 35 million. Sino po ang pwedeng sumagot po sa inyo? Kung saan, ano po nangyari dito sa mga ito? Ito po ba'y na-implement? Ito po ba'y napakinabangan ng ating mga magsasaka?
Your Honor, some of those projects are ongoing.
Pag sinabi niyo pong ongoing, meron po ba kayong pwedeng ipakita sa amin na datos nito?
Your Honor, at this point na wala na po ako sa SRA, pwede po siguro kung...
Pero panahon po dito po.
So para sa update lang po, Your Honor, kung matulungan po ng committee para ma-direct yung management ng SRA para ma-update yung sinasabi mo po na 712 million kung ano ang breakdown at saka ano na po ang status.
Meron po bang output? Ano po ang output nito? Meron po bang nadagdag na pwede tayong anihin?
Ito lahat.
Kasi pag budget po ang pinag-usapan, sir, kailangan may output po, di ba po?
Tama po. So, hindi ko lang ma-preempt yung report, official report ng SRA.
Masasabi po natin na medyo wala pong output sapagkat nag-i-import po tayo.
Hindi naman po. Kasi ito ay, these are the 5 na programa under SIDA Law 10659. Ang kalahati po ng budget nito ay pupunta po sa FMR. Ibig sabihin, yung kalsada po. Yung 15% pupunta po sa Black Farm. Ito po yung centerpiece ng SIDA Law, yung Black Farm.
Meron po bang nagawang kalsada?
Marami na po. Marami na po. habang-haba na po ang naparatingan ng Sidalo. Yan ang malaking tulong ni Senator Villar po at saka ni Senate President Subiri dito sa sugar industry po.
Okay. Noong nakaraang 2 taon po, meron pong mga ulat ang Commission on Audit tungkol sa mga unliquidated amount at account receivables para sa pagbili ng mga tractor-driven sugarcane harvester, cutter para sa mga sugarcane farmers. Maaari po bang malaman kung ito po ba ay natapos itong mga programa na ito? At yung mga biniling kagamitan po ba ay naipamahagi sa mga benepisyonaryo?
Your Honor, minabuti ko po yung panahon ng pandemic hanggang December 2021 na itapos na po yung procurement sa PITC. So itong 5 months ng 2022, naubos na po pag-deliver ang lahat po ng mga makinaryas para po sa
Nabanggit
magsasaka.
po yung PITC. Ano pong ibig niyo pong sabihin? Itinan-offer niyo sa kanila?
Hindi po. Ang nangyari kasi, Your Honor, nung 2019,
220 po ito.
yeah, 2019 po kasi, inapprove po ng board na ipamahagi sa PITC ang procurement po ng machine.
Sila po ang bibili.
Sila ang magbibidding, tapos sila po ang magbayad kung sino man ang mananalo, tapos yung suppliers po ang
Kaya madaling salita, nakarating po.
nakarating na po. Yun ang nga
Okay.
sinabi ko sa inyo na hanggang Hunyo po itong taon na to, natapos po ang
Lahat po ito.
Lahat po.
Ibig pong sabihin, itong sinabi ng Commission on Audit, hindi na po natin ito papansinin.
Siguro po, mas maganda po para galing opisyal na komunikasyon po ng SRA para po opisyal din po na talagang wala na yung issue sa COA po. Para
Chairman,
Senator Villar trying to
yes,
interject with the permission of Senator Padilla. Yes, after the questioning of Senator Padilla, we will
Okay,
recognize
sige.
Senator Villar.
Okay.
Sorry po, Ma'am Senator Villar. Sorry po. Chairman, sorry po. Tapusin ko lang po. Masasabi po natin na babaliwala ko na po ito. Itong Commission on Audit nito.
again, siguro mas maganda nga mayroong bagong update from SRA para po yun ang official kasi ito ngayon hindi na ako connected sa SRA, mahirap. So ayaw kong i-preempt ano yung official nga sulat na maipadala po sa
Okay
committee.
po. Gusto ko lamang po din ipaalala sa kung sino man po ang nakaupo dyan sa SRA na ang mandato po ninyo, unahin po natin ang katulad po ng sinabi ng Ginoong Pangulo, yung po kapakanan ng ating magsasaka. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Senator Padilla. Next to question, I see the hand of it's either the minority leader or Senator Cayetano. Senator Villar, I'm sorry. A quick manifestation coming from the co-chair. Senator Villar is recognized.
I just want to clarify to Mr. Serafica.
Ayan.
Hindi ba yung PITC, pinaimbestigahan na natin yan? Kasi ginagawa nila yung parking lot ng kanilang mga budget. Tapos hindi naman nila ini-implement. O, di ba nag-investigate tayo ostensibly sa PITC? Nagtataka lang ako why ang SRA, dadalhin nila ang pera sa PITC at ba't hindi sila mag-implement ng project? Ano ba meron dyan sa PITC na tuwan-tuwa silang dadalhin dyan ng lahat ng pera ng gobyerno?
Bakit kaya?
Mr.
Sagot!
Please answer.
During that time, Your Honor, I objected to the idea of SRA having a memorandum of agreement to PITC. I was outvoted then during that time, and hence it was transferred to PITC. And that was almost 600 million, Your Honor. But itong procurement
I cannot believe that na ia-outvote ka ng mga ano mo. Sino? Tatlo lang kayo, di ba?
Yes, tatlo lang po kami.
kayo, and kilala ko yung tatlo na yun. Hindi mo naman binibigyan ng say yun eh. Reklamo nga na reklamo yun eh.
During that time,
Shout out, Melvin Warren.
Underspending na kayo eh. 2 billion ang inilagay sa batas eh. Hindi nyo ini-spend eh. Tapos eh, nung mag-i-spend kayo, dadalhin nyo pa sa PITC na known na inimbestigahan niya kasi meron ginagawang parking lot yan ng mga pera nyo na hindi nyo naman ini-implement, hindi lang ikaw, katakot-takot na agency ng government, and then, bakit nyo dinadala dyan? Hindi nyo implement, ano yan, kumikita kayo sa interest ng pera habang hindi nyo ini-implement. Bakit hindi nyo implement sa sarili nyo yung mga project nyo?
after
Galit
what
na si
happened
Villar,
with the
guys. Galit na si
LTC,
Villar.
Your Honor, all the procurement were all undertaken by SRA BAC and RBAC offices,
Alam mo, Iho,
Your Honor.
nag-file ako ng resolution 2018, 2019 dahil noong from 2016 na nagbigay kami ng budget sa inyong 2 billion, hindi nyo naman itinutulong sa mga farmer eh.
Ayan!
Underspending eh. Kaya binagsak ng DBM yung budget nyo eh. Hindi nyo naman tinutulungan ng farmer. Parang ang ginagawa nyo lang, interesado kayo sa ano tawag dito, importation. Hindi nyo ginagawa yung trabaho nyo, natulungan nyo, i-develop ang ating mga farmers para nang sa ganon, ma-produce nila yung sugar at a lower price, at a bigger quantity, like giving them machine, giving them financial assistance, developing the black farm. Puro hindi nyo ginawa yun eh. And minsan lang kayong tutulong, dinala nyo pa sa PITC. Is this the way you're going?
Aray!
Ngayon, pag importation, excited na excited kayo. So, tama nga sinasabi nila na kayo eh, Department of Importation, hindi kayo developmental, yung Department of Agriculture. Yun lang po. I want to make that manifestation.
Take note of that, Senator Villar.
Mr. Chair.
You may not reply, Administrator Serafica, because we will have another round next week. I am serving notice that we will be inviting you next week. I'm sure you will be here, just as you volunteered to be here, despite your the circumstances surrounding your late arrival. So we will be inviting you. You did not
Mr. Chair, quick manifestation.
This will be the order. So to finalize this, because we have to convene the plenary as per the directive of Senator Zubiri, the quick manifestation of Senator De La Rosa, the 5-minute questioning of Senator Cayetano based on the order of arrival, and the minority leader will be given the chance to ask questions likewise. Thereafter, we will suspend. The other resource persons not
Fast
questioned
forward.
for time is we will be asking you.
Give up a reservation of the plenary next week so that you can continue there, given the
Nako
interest
po.
on this issue. And given it's so important, I hope Yusek Sebastian and Administrator Serafica realizes, hindi to simpleng bagay lang eh. I mean, hindi lang yung industriya ang nayugyug dito, no? Ang consumers natin, buong Pilipinas, no? Hirap na sa COVID, hirap na sa pagtaas ng presyo, tapos nabulaga dito sa asukal. So, first question lang, kasi I want to pursue the point na there seems to be a recurring theme that someone or some people gave the impression that the president wants this. Meron po bang board member o USEC na Marites ang pangalan sa SRA?
Yes. Anybody from SRA, Yusek? Mr. Serafica.
May I have your question again, Your Honor?
Patay!
Meron po bang board member o opisyalis na Marites sa inyo?
Sa SRA, I do not know anyone of Marites na member ng board.
Sa DA po, may USEC ba o ASEC na Marites?
None, Your Honor.
Eh bakit kumalat yung chismis na gusto to sino ang Marites sa inyo?
Ay, gulat.
May we ask, Mr. President, I don't want to put the industry in hot water, no, but grabe na pinagdadaanan nila. nasabi po nung presidente nila kanina, Mr. Chairman, na they were given the impression. Can I ask him lang, anong circumstance? When they were called, sinabi ba na gusto ni presidente to or what? Let's get to the bottom of that because it's not only one or two people who have said here in this hearing na nagkakaroon ng impression na gusto ng presidente kaya sumunod na lang yung iba.
Are you referring that question to Mr. Serafica or to Mr. Lamata? Mr. Lamata, are you still there? Virtually?
Yes po,
Sir,
Mr. Senator.
You heard the question? You can reply.
Yes po.
Sir, how did you get that impression, sir?
Well, we were told by SRA individuals, all our members, we were told that this is a national emergency because of the high prices on retail. The president therefore ordered that 300,000 metric tons should be imported to the country without further ado. And who are we to question the wisdom of the president? So we signed. And we send in our resolution that we are agreeable for 300,000 refined. What came out in the SO4, Mr. Senator, kakalahati, 150 raw, 150 refined. Yung raw po, it will come on November and we are already milling. Patay yung industry yan, Mr. Senator. Sinong kikinabang dyan? 3 or 4 lang na may mga refineries. Sila lang po ang kikinabang dyan. Patay ang buong planters and the consumers will still be problematic. So, mali yun.
So, sir, when you said people from SRA, this is more than one person, no?
Yes po. Kasi pinakalat nila sa lahat na these are orders of the president. So yun po, yung SO3 and SO4, the same. Orders of the president.
Do you recall one or two of the highest position who said the same thing? For example, sir, did the Administrator Serafica, was he one of those o hindi po?
Yes po. Kasi he talks to his friendly federations. Nag-uusap-usap sila. Yung mga friendly federations po, may mga connection din sa amin mga federasyon. So yun, talk of the town na yan po.
So last question, sir.
Sa kanya.
So nung nakita niyo yung order number 4 at nakapirma for the president, it bolstered your or it affirmed your the talk, no, na gusto ng presidente to kasi it was signed for President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Tama po ba?
Tama po, sir. Tama po. But we were shocked to believe in illegal pala.
Yes. So going back, Administrator, have you been telling people na gusto ng presidente to?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I never said those. What we discussed during the stakeholders meeting were numbers, were data coming from the SRA.
Okay.
And the shortfall of
Yes.
the raw and refined sugar.
Okay po. That's
Thank
why
you.
I'm giving a chance to, as the Senate said, isang SRA member mismo, yun din ang sinabi, that he was given the impression, no? So before I go back to the signature, kanina po, sir, sabi nyo, kaya tinanggal yung performance bond para to lessen the burden on the consumers. How will it lessen the burden on the consumers? At hindi naman po ang consumers ang nagbabayad ng performance bond. Hindi naman po bababa ang presyo, at hindi rin naman po babagal yung importation, hindi po ba?
Your Honor, siyempre ipapatong nila yon sa cost nila ng sugar nila pagdating ng puerto at saka siyempre.
Sir, bakit nila ipapatong hindi naman po to expense? Pagka na-perform, makukuha nila pabalik, hindi po ba?
Yes po.
So, kaya nga may SRA para sabihin din sa kanila kung anong pwede nilang ipatong at hindi po ba? Binabantayan nyo rin po yung presyo, hindi po ba? Is that correct?
We just monitor prices, Your Honor.
Yes, but part of monitoring, it is not a passive monitoring. No, it's like in the Bible when you say you wait on the Lord, you wait on Jesus. That's hupomeno, diba? That's actively waiting for them. When you monitor, it's not just for the sake to say, oy,
Monitor lang.
Pala 90 pesos. It's also para mag-comment kayo kung unjustified yung taas ng presyo, hindi po ba?
Tama po,
So,
Your Honor.
meaning there is no reason to remove the performance bond because it should not have been added to the price anyway. It's, kung sasabihin nyo, sir, may tinanggal kayong tax, may tinanggal kayong fee, may tinanggal kayong, let's say, kailangan ilagay sa warehouse yan ng isang araw, di ba? Yung mga yan, mababawasan talaga presyo. Pero ang performance bond, pag tinanggal mo, wala dapat epekto sa presyo yan.
More often than not, in this case, that retail prices are already very high, Your Honor. We anticipate that the traders will really take advantage of the situation, Your Honor.
Well, let's leave it there, no? Because we can all give our reasons, but this is the first time I heard na ang performance bond would add a cost, no? So next, sir, ang sabi po sa inyo,
May
dinelegate sa inyo ng
Senator
board.
Cayetano that
Yes.
Senator Coco Pimentel is
I'll
waiting
close with
likewise.
this.
And
I
we'll
apologize
have
to my
We'll have
colleague.
a plenary.
Sige po.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Sabi niyo po, kaya dinelegate sa inyo ang reclassification kasi kailangan mabilis kumilos. Tama po ba?
Tama po.
Okay.
OMG.
Kasi tatlong araw lang naman kumilos yung board eh. So, gaano kabilis pa gusto ng board kumilos ka? 1 minuto, 5 minuto? Usually, dinedelegate yan, halimbawa, ng board of ng isang kumpanya sa CEO, kung tingin nila, every quarter pa kasi magme-meeting ang board or every month yung board. That's why. But even then, they don't usually delegate it to the CEO. They delegate it to a executive committee. So, hindi ko po maintindihan bakit po ibibigay sa inyo kung mabilis naman ang board nyo.
Only on extremely urgent.
Shout out, Kabsat,
situation like
Infinite
in this
Streams.
case that, we are in a shortage of sugar and very
Sir,
extremely high price.
Sir, wala na akong time ha. So, tatanungin ko lang, wala kayong Viber o WhatsApp?
The
I
gentleman
have.
suspend.
So, hindi kayo pwedeng may Viber group sa board pag urgent at i-approve pa rin ng board? So, anyway, I'll leave it there, Mr. Chair, because nga we have 2 colleagues na nandito pa, but
Yes.
may also reserve some time later on, and we'll look deeper into it. My concern,
Fast forward.
Iba yung lack of authority, alisin natin yun, but even yung sa quantity of the sugar
Parang
that
boses
the
ni Tolentino
board
yun ah.
wanted to allow to be imported 300,000 metric tons.
Tolentino nga.
Now, tell me
Ay,
if what I've read is correct, that
Pimentel pala.
the President has allowed the importation of 150,000 metric tons. Is that correct, as far as you know, Administrator Serapika?
I do not know, Your Honor.
So, saan ko nabasa yun? Yusek Sebastian, nabasa mo ba yun? O nabalitaan mo?
Yes, Your Honor, that is in the news that the President is proposing 150,000 metric tons
Okay.
for importation.
Ang gusto kong sabihin, so the decision of the, ilang kayong tao nun who signed SO4? 3 lang ba kayo?
We are 3, Your Honor.
You're 4.
4,
You're
including
You're actually 4 because
Yes.
Yusek Sebastian signed on behalf of the President. So, in effect, the basic decision to import sugar has been confirmed by the President in his decision to import sugar. Correct or not correct? Yusek or an admin, sino pong kayo? Any of the 4 who signed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct, di ba? Except that yung SO4 ninyo could be criticized for allowing too much importation. Ganun lang. So, ang tanong ko, aside from the authority, sawag na muna yung lack of authority kasi may mga memo circular yan, a-analyze pa natin yan. Kaya tanong ko sa inyo, matagal na kayong nasa SRA admin na 2016. You said, how about the others? Beltran, Attorney Beltran, matagal na rin po ba as far as you know?
2016.
2016. How about Mr. Valderrama, as far as you know?
Recently, he was appointed August 2 only.
August 2. Okay, but definitely you have some expertise on sugar matters. How about you, Yusek Sebastian? You're just the representative of the President in the SRA. But are you familiar or can be considered an expert on sugar matters?
No, Your Honor. I'm
No,
not an expert
okay.
on sugar
So
matters.
ito si admin si Rafika. Kayo po ang ano dito. What led you to that number, the 300,000 metric tons?
Your Honor, these are based on data. The SRA is the repository of all records of the production of all mills and refineries. On a weekly basis, they are transmitted to the SRA by way of SMS. And these are collated also on a weekly basis. And from there, we can do projections on what happens on every particular issue. And in this case, Your Honor, the shortage, we are just even putting it on the minimal based on the 3-year average monthly demand of the raw sugar at 170,000 metric tons. Now, with regards to the refined sugar, taking into consideration the balances for SO3, it will come out almost just 100 something that will total to 300,000 metric tons. That is just to walk us through for 3 months based on at 85,000 metric tons per month consumption on refined sugar.
So you do not plan it as up to December 31 of a calendar year, hindi pa yon. So hindi pa ending sa mata ninyo, hindi pa pala ending yung SO4, pwede pa magkaroon ng SO5.
Yes, most
Sa
likely
mata
because
ninyo.
we base our data, like for
Okay.
example, sugarcane farming or plantation, Your Honor, is very dependent on climate. In fact, Bukidnon is always our balancing factor, but this time around, because of the cloud cover in Bukidnon, there was not much solar radiation to the sugarcane fields. That's why this time also, the production in Bukidnon is also lower than expected.
Okay, so you use data. Ngayon, ito the recent decision of the President himself to authorize the importation of 150,000 metric tons. Hindi ko pala alam ang detail niya kung refined sugar yon or raw sugar yon or what kind of sugar yon. What data? Now, what data do you think supported this new figure, lesser figure of 150,000 metric tons?
With due respect to the President, Your Honor, I have no idea.
Yusek, what do you think? Where did the President get his data, or where did his advisors get their data to come up with a different? Pero yung decision to import, pareho kayo eh. Ano, confirm eh, but sa quantity lang po tayo nagkaiba, kalahati. So ang gusto ko sabihin, had you decided in SO4 to import 150,000 metric tons, baka walang issue. Kasi after the issue, ang decision is to import 150,000 metric tons. Well, where do you think that figure came from?
I have no personal.
No theories, no 150,000 metric tons. So, who do you think should be invited in the next hearing so that we can? Kasi ganito ang point ko, I want to go through your decision-making process, what's going on in your mind. And then ito rin, the President in coming up with the decision, what went through his mind? Because baka meron tayong data dyan na unreliable na po. Maybe bloated. Baka bloated po yung ating... How do you compute, sir, the demand for sugar, for the different kinds of sugar in the domestic market? How is that computed?
Actually, sir, putting it simply, this is the data of PSA and the DA. 50% of our total production goes to the industrials. Yes, the balance of 50% is broken into 32% goes to the households. And
Malapit na matapos, guys,
18%
ha?
goes to the institutional
Pa-ending na.
sector, meaning hotel, hospitals, and restaurants.
We have that, Senate
Ito na, inienta.
Minority Leader, we have that in the files where the division of the sugar would go. But just to remind the gentleman that in 1 minute we have to convene the plenary
Ayan,
So
oh.
maybe I can suspend, Mr. Chairman, but
that's
be
it.
allowed to,
Yes, you will be the first.
yeah, to
You
be
will be
the
the
first
first
to,
when
ano.
we resume
And
hearing on Tuesday.
siguro, last
Oh,
word ko
sa
lang,
Tuesday
you're
yung
giving us
hearing.
parang the distribution of
August
the
30.
harvest eh. But actually, the question now is the number, diba? The consumption. Tama pa rin yung 50, 32, 18, pero what is now the consumption? So to be continued, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you to the
Alright.
good
So,
minority
yun,
leader.
natapos din mga
And
kabsat.
to repeat what the chair mentioned a while ago,
Ilang oras
we
ba
will
to?
suspend, and then we will
Almost 6 hours, guys,
you
na
will be
kanto.
receiving notices. We apologize to the resource persons present here who were not called, also those virtually present. So, as
Yo.
agreed upon, and without objection on the part of this committee hearing is hereby suspended.
Yo. Salamat. Ayan po mga kabsat, natapos din sa wakas. Almost 3 hours din yung live natin ngayon, guys, no? So, medyo napahaba. Again, maraming salamat mga kabsat. So, napakinggan natin yung hearing. Talagang nasabon nitong mga nagsi-resign na nag-voluntarily na pumunta dito sa hearing ng Senate. So, actually, nagisa na sila doon sa sa Congress. Yung mga congressman ang mga nagtanong nung una. Then ngayon, umabot na sa Senate. So, mukhang may hearing sila this August 30, mga kakabsat. So, abangan natin yan. So, anyway, mga kabsat, no? So, again, thank you very much. At least, kahit pa paano, kahit late tayo ng isang araw, actually, live sana natin to kahapon. Yun nga lang, hindi natin na-live. So, again, maraming salamat sa mga hindi pa nagla-like and subscribe dyan, mga kabsat. Grabe, no? Talagang nagisa itong mga nagsi-resign. Yung hindi nila masagot ng punto by punto, no? Ang daming paligoy-ligoy, di ba? Pwede namang oo, hindi lang yung sagot eh. Yes or no lang, pero kung saan-saan na pumunta yung sagot nila. So anyway, kita-kita lang tayo mamaya. Prepare lang tayo ng dinner natin, mga kabsat. So again, thank you very much for almost 3 hours. Tingnan natin kung makakapag-live pa tayo mamaya. So kita-kita lang by then. So thank you very much, mga kabsat. Maestro Paul is signing off. Thank you very much. Bye-bye and more blessings. Huwag kalimutan mag-like and subscribe. Thank you, Bob. Thank you po. Bye-bye.